But now, we have our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we're dedicated to doing up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies. Checking
Dude, I like your
because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards is wonderful. Well,
it's like it can work correctly, or and it's like, I'm Greg Razzakowski. Greg Razzakowski, like, Michael Vincent, but it sounds really funny. Oh, dude, it's also sounds like Forrest Gump when his mom talking about the initiative school. I'm not exactly sure what he said it is, but it was like a fucked up school system. That fucking Alabama and fucking school system was fucked up. Why? He was like, get in and touch it, learn how to do it. It was like, what the fuck is this? They were on a bus. Nobody's letting this motherfucker sit down. Then all of a sudden, this girl's getting molested? What the fuck? They go out to that tree, fucking crazy shit, motherfucker, and motherfuckers convinced on that tree. But yeah, these motherfuckers out there, we're playing on the ground. Motherfucker. And then the first 3,000 blew up. Oh, no. And the join me. No, drip on it. Oh, I like the so half of this is like my friend on he started in black. But the fact that I could hear myself brings to me a lot of LA is very expensive. It's noise. Now, a couple of things about it. Yeah, let's listen to something that's sexy time. And what's getting on her platform primarily. That's your time. I want to this was from why? Well, yeah, it's sexy scientist, right? You got like 1,000 fucking devices with which you could be. I know it's one. The point is that hey, big kid, girl, it's sexy scientist here. You're just checking out the. So let's first talk about. I know how big kid got girl is doing. Even government girl when you're ran for governor. No dog. Anyway, let's see first if you've ever had a big kid. And when you ask Angelinos and Orange Countyers what the number one problem is, they'll tell you crime, like homelessness. Believe it or not, I don't want to astronomical. Not to say that's a bad thing. I'm sure out there it's billions from the county, billions from the state, like here, billions from the feds, and that's here in Southern California, and the homeless walking around the fence coast. Now, is it because of these programs? I don't know. I think it's these programs. We're not exactly say, and I know like, that's fucking nonprofit. Oh, yeah. Companies I'm a fucking motherfucker. I do like there is collection. I'm so excited about it. This was a really good story. You were like, no, it's fuck you. And I said for years, the only way we're going to deal and do a decent job with homelessness is God-awful amounts of money over the course of many years. It's going to be incremental. Hasn't been till now, because there are more people coming in there being helped. It's pretty for someone to come in from Kansas into
California. That's somewhat permanent housing is $500,000.
Oh yeah, don't unplug it anymore.
Now, that's a lot.
This motherfucker
And that is the
unplugged it
fight
at midnight,
that is,
and
well,
then
we're going to have to
plugged it
spend
at
a fortune
4:30 in the
on
morning
it.
on the
If you're going to
fucking
really
dot. That's also the
I don't
same
have the
as the fucking timer on the fucking microwave. Why?
Some of them were looking pretty
One,
good. Some of them look like an REI building.
one time I got hard for like yelled at for it. I put the fucking timer filled with nothing but water in the microwave for like 40 minutes. But I was awake. I was gonna go down and get it. I just couldn't read half the fucking numbers on the thing anyway. Whatever. And now I can't eat food at night for it. My mother was like, you just have to hear yourself talk. And I think I'm proving it right. Why? Well, I haven't shut up yet. Oh, dude, these are one phone oh, this is big kitty
While he is pushing very hard to follow that social work model.
Big kitty
Let's get social workers out there.
Oh, okay.
Let's try to get people out there, experts, social work experts, community activists who do this sort of work. Let's get them out there with us, please.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to hear about these funny business. He wants the money. He wants to hire 500 new officers. You know what that costs? Because right now, LAPD has about 9,000 officers fully funded, and a full complement is about 10,000.
I don't know all their, like, I don't know, what's that split union?
I mean, we on a per capita basis have one of the fewer costs per person than almost any other city in the United States.
This is a really great sound that you were playing.
Food, we have to add 1,000, we can't afford 1,000, so that's 500, and the attrition rate is going crazy.
You have to yeah, probably. No.
But when it comes to a realistic approach to cost, understand cost is pretty important. You know, this kind of crap load. You know this.
Yeah, we should buy a house.
That's insurmountable. That is insurmountable. As long as it's coming in, here is the dilemma. Here is where it becomes a contradiction. For the homeless,
my business
the
card
more homeless
on my way out.
and that doesn't stop.
Yeah,
It's to the point where, hell,
Wow.
I might move. I can do really good on a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Coming up, middle class. The definition of middle class.
And
oh yeah, wait till we talk about that one. Let's check in with Jennifer Jones live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Maybe onto something because there is no former
all these people went to it and then they went to the bar afterwards.
Jennifer will not be here tomorrow.
It was just like,
after it just came up to me like that, I felt like this. Thank you. Very handsome man.
Well,
glad that unemployment office is getting longer.
I don't want to. This is like 2 weeks.
5,000 from the previous week.
My number is still up, but not tomorrow. Cool. But I'm not figure out noise.
And Snapchat is really getting serious about the dashboard. The company announced Wednesday
Have a
the customizable chatbot called My AI is now accessible to all users. You don't have to just be a subscriber. So got weather from KFI. Looks like we've got a sunny, warm day out today. In the 70s to right at 80. This report is brought to you by personal injury firm Owen Patterson and Owen. From Southern California, created in the Shopping Center, Life Show Places, this time we're second and 10. The westbound drive is
I love that.
all the way out. He's walking the cold
Show me your phone. Show me the timer.
Where you go.
I know there's a timer on that. Fucking modem router. It went off at midnight at 4:30 in the morning. You'd be like, what? You'd be like, this motherfucking thing went off at the same fucking time as that fucking timer on the microwave. You'd be like, huh? I'd be like, I'm not gonna go through this with you again. I put a fucking pirate full of water in it for like 40 minutes. It wasn't the I was just at the time where I was gonna give it after like 10 minutes. But if I forget, it's just water. It's gonna evaporate. No big fucking deal. Anyway, well, only because the asshole came in my room and was like, hey dude, do you have a pirate in the fucking microwave? I was like, dude, it's like 2 in the morning. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah? He's like, you know it's been there for like 40 minutes? And I'm like, yeah? But I'm awake. I'm like, what are you doing? Put it in there for 40 minutes. Then we got this huge argument, and I ended up videotaping in the argument. He goes to grab his phone. Last words I literally remember saying to him was, you fucking cunt.
You could save $600 on street numbers.
And we got him fucking timer on the microwave. So then what happened? So then I'm like, God damn, it's fucking timer. So I started unplugging it. Then he becomes like, fucking, this time of day, kind of plastic. And it's like too much fucking work to do. And why did I keep it? Well, I took it from 4:30 to 4:39, and I put it from 4:39 to 4:02. 4:39 to 4:48, and then the next part is fuck to eat. I really shouldn't do it that long. But I can't believe I fixed that. Then I'm just screaming, move that fucking no. I really like that.
And again, the air quality works. Bring into supervisors and a super selection at the Northern Superstore. Hyundai, Genesis, and Volkswagen at 9 convenient locations. From the Cerritos Auto Square, Irvine Auto Square, from West Covina to Huntington Beach, we have all your favorite models in stock. Plus, there's total peace of mind when you purchase. Thanks to our exclusive protection guarantee. You can find the same vehicle for less than 5 days. Your reason to pay you the difference or find your vehicle back. There is simply no reason to shop anywhere else. Don't miss your chance at a fresh start spring and get behind the wheel of your favorite new ride. Test drive today at your Superstore location, like the #1 hottest store in the world in the Cerritos Auto Square. Or shop online at normreed.com.
I love how that one guy behind the whole other. Did I watch the match? I knew I was. I just want to make sure that
Celebrating their 40th anniversary. They have never done this before. It's the biggest sale ever. My Reborn Kitchen is one of the highlights of my home. All Reborn during the month of April and get free installation on your remodel or resurface. Check out the showrooms in Anaheim, Lakeport, and Torrance. Call 888-2 or visit rebornpackage.com. Don't forget like number 44666. There's truly intelligent tech fire hose with them overwhelmed every week. Through those headlines, shift to scary and stupid and focus on the smart and important. That's macro as in macroeconomics. And that macro take matters to all of us. Macro with Peter Middleton. Sunday afternoon at 2 on AFR, AF Support, and on demand anytime on the IR video app. Hi, AM 640 handle here, Thursday, April 20th. Big stories this morning. First of all, SpaceX launched Starship, biggest Starship, biggest on the planet. It blew up 4 minutes into the launch. And you know the story that we did last week about the graffiti in Northridge that was being painted over by a volunteer, and he was shot, he killed. Well, next on this charge with that, charged with murder, special circumstances too. Now, I want to talk about middle class. 50 is something that we have talked about. What is middle class? The president, politicians talk about the middle class, hardworking middle class in this country. Now, it used to be the middle class actually paid for everything in this country. The middle class actually supported the United States. Today, it's the top 20% that supports the country. The middle class doesn't. It's simply because the way the taxes work, it really is the rich people that support it. Even though we talk about loopholes. Yeah, I think it was for loopholes. Put it right there. The IRS has been pretty good about closing all those loopholes. I mean, there used to be an insane number of loopholes, big enough you could drive a truck through. Those days are gone. So let's go back to middle class. What is middle class? So let me ask you a question. For $100,000 income, does that seem middle class to you? Jennifer, $100,000 a year middle class? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it seems that way to me. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, you're right, class. I hit 6 figures. Yeah. Okay, so let me give you a reality check. Yeah. Working good. I heard it. Oh, okay. All right, now, cities like Honolulu, New York, San Francisco, and LA, pretty close there. In order to bring home $100,000, right, you need $300,000. Yeah, that is the new definition of middle class, and I'm talking about the government is giving us that. And so a study just came out, by the way, from a financial advising company, Smart Asset, and looking at government figures. Workers in those 3 cities, Honolulu, New York, San Francisco, because they're at the very top, and we're not far behind. People who earn $300,000 a year are taxed at the rate of basically 40.5% or higher. Higher meaning if you make some serious money, you're making, let's say, over $400,000. Now that's a lot of money. No, actually, over 150, you're at the top bracket already. And so top bracket being, 36 or 39% Fed, 13% California, so you're over 50%. You're over 50%. Now when you bring in and you add what the cost of living is relative to other places, that middle class figure is $300,000 a year. We did a story about buying a house. The median income for a house in Los Angeles, I think Orange County is even higher, is $800,000. So, in order to sustain an $800,000 house, that means $160,000 down. That's your down payment, 20%. Okay, that's $160,000 a year. That's sitting in a bank account after taxes. You put that away. Boy, a lot of us have $160,000 hanging around, don't we? So now you're putting that down on a house, and the mortgage is $600,000, whatever. And so now you need an income of $172,000 to sustain that mortgage. And if you're paying rent, well, look at the rent, $4,000 a month. 2-bedroom is $3,500, $4,000. I know people that pay $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, and we're not talking about wealthy people either. We're not talking about people that have throwaway money. It was cheaper for me to buy a house than to rent. Yeah. In the meantime, realistically, you have a mortgage, right? Yeah. And where were you able to get the down payment? Was it probably from another house? Yeah, that is the only way people do it. They sell their existing houses that they bought before, and sometimes going up 3 or 4. And my house is the culmination of, I think, 3 houses that I bought, sold, and then I built the Persian house. I couldn't come close to affording the Persian house. The only reason that we were even able to afford the first house was because Scott's VA loan. Yeah, so you get in with, basically nothing. Yeah, 3% or nothing. And it's reasonable, too. You're getting a good interest rate, but no one is in the service anymore. Who goes? Not in California. Yeah, nobody goes to the service anymore. The South, it's much more prevalent, but here it's not common. Right. So the bottom line is that unless you're making, a ton, crapload of money, you're not middle class. Can you imagine making $100,000 a year and you're considered below middle class? If I did that story, if I said that to you 5 or 10 years ago, hey, let's define middle class. $100,000 a year, and you're basically close to the poverty line. It's science fiction is what it is. And it has to do with cost of living is huge. In Honolulu, for example, 86% higher than a city in the South. So, Northeastern salaries, 20% higher than Southern salaries. All right, you go to the Northeast, anywhere in the Northeast versus, any place in Alabama, well, bigger than that, but I think across the board. And the cost of living is with that. Even with all that said, you still have to make $150,000, $180,000 middle class life, even in the South. Now, I will tell you, when you're making dinner in the South, possum and squirrel meat is not that expensive. I will grant you that. And I understand it because just go get your own. And I also understand you're not spending money on a dentist either. I get that too. Is there anybody from the South at this point that's offended yet? Well, I would say, I still call them my Southern relatives. They listen to the show all the time. Yeah, and living in Squirrel Hollow, I know that. They live in places like Flowery Branch. Yeah, I'm not joking. Of course they do. And what cities do you think is the hardest to get the middle class? The kind of the city. Yeah, that's geographically, but it's not there. It's a great question. As you can imagine, tech cities. Yeah, those are the hardest to be middle class. So Silicon Beach. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Middle class, you're not. I just want to point that out. Feel good about yourself. I love making people feel good about themselves. Coming up, Jason Middleton, and it's Macro with Jason. Yeah, we'll be back with that. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. More stimulating talk, no login required. KFI. Los Angeles, Orange County. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I love how Alex plays this. I'm Jennifer Jones, Lee live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The matter of fact, came to a group of students and killed one of them near Westlake High School was homeless and apparently living in his car. KFI's Chris Foley reports live. The guy is also a former student at Westlake High. Witnesses say a bunch of belongings spilled out of Austin Ice's car when he crashed into the group of teens. Ice is accused of going on a rampage Tuesday. He allegedly first attacked 2 employees at a Walmart in Simi Valley. They got into some sort of fight with his family members in Camarillo. Then headed back to Thousand Oaks where he ran into the team. This employee at Walmart said he stabbed the Walmart employee in the garden section. Then apparently he looked up a woman too. Yeah. And he stabbed him. Who was killed was identified as Wesley Welland. His sister was standing next to him during the crash. Both were waiting on a bus to go home and celebrate their mother's birthday. Reporting live, Blake Trolling, KFIU. A road rage incident in Santa Ana has uncovered a gun-making operation in Costa Mesa. Detectives were tracking down a guy who pulled a gun on a driver, but Santa Ana Police Sergeant Maria Lopez says when search warrants were executed at the guy's home and business in Costa Mesa, the major enforcement detectives as well as the 8109 task force were able to locate 14 firearms, 13 ghost gun trains, firearms manufacturing equipment, 3D printers, and a drill pack. Drugs were also found. The guy was booked Friday for criminal threats as well as multiple weapons and drug violations. In Santa Ana, Corbin Carson, KFIU. A man in Newport Beach has been charged for a hit and run that left a motorcyclist with significant injuries. The man was arraigned Tuesday on several charges, including felony hit and run with injury for the 2022 crash and felony DUI. Police said the man hit both the motorcyclist and several parked cars near 26th Street and West Balboa Boulevard before running away. He pleaded not guilty on all counts. An LAPD officer is suing police chief Michael Moore and the department claiming retaliation for posting videos of her shooting competition. Tony McBride claims Chief Moore threatened to destroy her career as she continued posting videos showcasing her short shooting skills. The officer says the chief told her he didn't like the images the videos presented, and she needed to choose between social media and being an LAPD officer. In the lawsuit filed Tuesday, the officer claimed her videos were identical to other male officers' videos, but she was still blocked from being promoted. McBride is the daughter of Jamie McBride, a director of the LA Police Protective League. The LAPD declined to comment on the pending litigation. Chris Adler, CFI News. LA and Orange counties arrested. The feds say near convenience stores over a 3.5 week period. Booking documents show from March 21st to April 15th, Green also carjacked at least 2 vehicles. Prosecutors say Green was demanding cash from employees at gunpoint and threatened to kill them if they didn't hand over the money. He was able to steal a little more than $15,000 during the robbery. Green took his 20 years in prison. He was charged under the Federal Hobbs Act, which is interference with commerce by robbery. Officials in Maine say a man who was killing 4 people in a home was recently released from prison and living with family and friends. He served about 2 years for aggravated assault, but they're still trying to determine a motive for Tuesday's shooting. Just flight of SpaceX unpiloted Starship and Super Heavy rocket has been called a success, even though it only lasted 4 minutes. That's how long it took before the rocket exploded. It looks like we saw the start of the flip, but obviously we're seeing from the ground cameras the entire Starship section continuing to rotate, and we still have that separation. But
No way.
Obviously, does not appear to be a normal situation. SpaceX referred to the explosion as a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. Before stage separation, the company posted on Twitter the test launch today will help improve the Starship's reliability. And the chief says Ukraine deserves to join the military alliance and continuing support for the country on its first visit to since Russia's invasion just over a year ago. We're going to look at your Dodge at DKFI in the sky, but first it's Sports with Wayne. The Lakers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 2 of that playoff series to score 103-93. The Clippers have Game 3 in their series against the Phoenix Suns at 7:30. You can hear it live on AM 1150. In hockey, the LA Kings fell to the Edmonton Oilers 4-2 in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. In baseball, the Dodgers lost to the Mets 5-3 as injuries require the team to rethink some position players. So is manager Dave Roberts concerned?
I wouldn't say it's concerned. I think if you look around the league, there's a lot of teams that are kind of fluttering. Want to get our guys healthy. I think that's probably number one.
The Dodgers are at the Cubs today at 4:40. Michael Grove is set to start. Listen to HD live from the Dalton Motors broadcast booth on the iHeartRadio app. The Angels fell to the Yankees 3-2 in 10 innings. That series wraps up today with Patrick Sandoval starting. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports. If you're looking to sell your house, there's a bunch of choices. You can list it on your own. Internet. Yeah. I've actually seen people with a for sale by owner and signs in front of their house. Okay, that's going to work. You can list it with a broker. 6% clean repair. Buyers come through. Has to be spotless. You can't be there. Or a very easy way to do it, and boy, this works fast. DirectBuyers.com. They'll give you a fair price. You'll get paid in cash within 10 days. No one even walks to your house. I mean, how easy is that? They'll even give you a $15,000 cash advance before closing to help with your move, and I'll tell you what they will never do, and that's lowball you. I just love the way they do business. So, go to DirectBuyers.com, call 844-242-7, or visit DirectBuyers.com. This is a financial update is brought to you by Jacoby and Myers. The Dow is down 51, S&P down 17, NASDAQ down 58, and the average price per gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.91. Don't wait. Maximize your compensation after an accident. Call Jacoby and Myers now. Justice for you since 1972. SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a great day ahead. Lots of sunshine, warm temperatures. Highs will be in the 70s to right at 80. 80 to maybe even right at 90 for your Friday and Saturday. Back into the 70s and 80s for Sundays and 60s and 70s. 70s by the first part of next week. Right now it is 54 in Rancho Santa Margarita and Baldwin Park, 53 in Westlake Village. Let's get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky, and this time, Jeff Ball, you're checking out some delays on the 22.
There we are. Let me tell you, 80 around here sounds pretty good to me. Heading to the eastbound drive on the 22 over at Harbor Boulevard. Now there underlined was a problem in lanes. The eastbound 22 kind of slow coming away from the 405 split there. But at this point, at least with all lanes up now, I always advise you to stay with the freeway because the surface streets like Garden Grove Boulevard, all that gets to be super fast. So it was East 22 before Harbor Boulevard. It's going to be slow. But again, stick with the freeway. I think you'll be okay. Mid-City LA, now this is an unusual problem. Number one, it's really busy on all of our freeways this morning. So if you're still looking at home and what can get going, again, like yesterday, I'd leave a little early. It couldn't hurt. But again, back to the East End, there's the East End of La Brea. There was a right shoulder problem forever. And there was another problem that we saw approaching the East LA interchange at Alameda. That's just before the East LA interchange. The left lane was blocked there. CHP Gardner, I guess they were waiting for a tow truck to come. So, again, the bottom line, this is unusual. The East End, from La Brea all the way to East LA interchange, is just plain slow. We just had a look at the 105, another busy one, all lanes open, but from the 710 over to Crenshaw, that's about it. And right now, as I speak here, we're flying south over the 405, coming up over Crenshaw. Northbound drive is real slow, but at least moving. I think you'll think moving for the drive in the 405 towards LAX. Jeff AFI in the sky. This hour of the Bill Handel Show is brought to you by WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Find the largest selection of in-stock appliances in Southern California at WDCappliances.com. WDCappliances.com.
Spring cleaning this season? Simply Done cleaning products from Saver Brothers are affordable, effective, and can tackle any mess, big or small. It's the simple choice for quality cleaning. Spring clean with Simply Done from Saver Brothers Market.
This is Jacob and Ron. If you've been involved in a motorcycle accident, call 844-24-JACOB. ASI. More stimulating talk.
And iHeart radio station. Serious side effects are usually results of caffeine, fevers, increased blood pressure or heart rate, liver damage, glaucoma, allergic reactions, may cause nausea, constipation, headache, and vomiting.
Bill Handel, left for everyone. And now, here's Bill Handel.
Hey, good morning. Bill Handel here, and the entire morning crew on a Thursday, April 20th. Some stories we are hearing. First of all, Supreme Court. That's what that's Pristone, not the Pristone. Exactly. That's a Pristone. You talk about a mental block I have with that. It is extraordinary. In any case, the court was going to rule last night whether to uphold what the appellate court did. Yeah, appellate court in taking that unpronounceable drug off the market, and the court kicked down the tree. Thank you very much. So they're going to say Friday night, tomorrow night, they'll have a hearing, and then SpaceX, the Starship, hugely successful rocket, went up this morning. 4 minutes into it, it blew up. But it's still considered a massive success. I guess in their definition it is. Much didn't know if they really even going to take off or not. Now, it is time for Jason Middleton.
Okay, who could use some more money? Oh, everybody. It's time to get Macro with Jason Middleton on the Bill Handel Show.
So, Jason, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
And Jason walked in as we were about to start this segment and said, hey, I was listening to your segment on middle class and home prices, and even though it's not what we were going to talk about or it's not part of the list, you said you want to hear, I got some information on home prices.
Yeah, as soon as I get off the air with you at 8:30, I'm going to be recording with Chief Executive Bride, Chief Economist at Bankrate.com. They have new data showing that 64% of people who want to buy a house will do what it takes. They will downsize, they will move into a different zip code, they will do anything to get in. And what you and I were talking about off air, which is kind of the point of the show this weekend at 2 o'clock on Sunday, is renting versus owning, and the American dream has been outdated. It still is a path to family wealth and legacy wealth to own your house. But to be really honest, first of all, that's the question, depending on how much your mortgage rate coming in at and what you do. And then, of course, your personal formula. Is it better to rent as opposed to own?
Yeah. But, and you can actually buy a home. Downtown Detroit, it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, you're right. The supply side of it is way out of whack, which is why the demand is so. The demand is high, supply is limited, prices are way up. Now, renting back in the day made more sense economically in a lot of cases because you have an opportunity cost there, right? With the house, you're paying more every month for your monthly nut, and you're taking money out of other things you could be doing, and so that's harder. That's kind of caught up now. So it's a very individual formula you have to do.
Yeah, a lot of people, when you talk about the monthly cost of a house, no one thinks it's just the mortgage. It's what they talk about. Hey, how about the taxes? Mm-hmm. How about the maintenance? Mm-hmm. If you have a house, my house is 22 years old, and about the first 10 years on a new house, spectacular. You pay nothing. After 10, now the maintenance is just completely crazy.
Yeah, and writing off the mortgage interest.
Oh, yeah,
the first 10 years.
I mean, yeah, that's all of it. All right, so bottom line is
74% of the country wants to buy a house, can't buy a house. Yeah, that's the bottom line.
And yeah, isn't that absolutely lovely? Okay, let's start moving on with Tesla. And Tesla has some great numbers in terms of revenue. Mm-hmm. We don't know how are their profits because
the profit margin is eating it too down. Here's why. Tesla lowered, as you know, on its cars. Again, and that's the sixth one in the past, I want to say, 5 quarters. So, yeah, that's about right. 15 months. So, what they're trying to do, what Tesla's trying to do is what Apple used to do back in the day, which was technology first, manufacturing second, and then scale. So what Tesla tries to do now, it has the technology, it's got most of the manufacturing, because it still has stuff sitting on lots somewhere that needs to be delivered. Now it's trying to get the scale, and that means the price point. That means the point of entry for would-be consumers who want an electric car, who want to get that $7,500 tax credit from the federal government. You can't get in there still because Teslas are expensive, so they're lowering that price. I think investors will finally readjust to this eventually, but you just Tesla shares are down 6%, even though, like you said, the revenue was actually up.
Yeah, and they're selling a lot of cars, too.
They are. We're talking about a profit margin here. We're not talking about an operating loss.
Right.
We're talking about, like, it's above the bottom line, right? So everything is in the black, a little bit less than it was this time last year. But how much are they exposing themselves to more customer base? Probably a lot.
And that means you're going to see even more cuts because at their high end, they were an insanely profitable car company. I mean, they were 30. Yeah. I mean, it was just nuts relative to the other companies.
Same kind of profit margin is what they make on iPhones. It was like a 30% profit margin. Same kind of thing. So really drivable iPhones. Remember we used to make that show 10 years ago. It's pretty much true. You look at the screens inside.
Where is the sweet spot for auto manufacturers in terms of profit?
It depends on scale. Honestly, it really kind of does. It depends on their volume. But if you're returning 5 to 7%, yeah, you're good. There's still a lot closer to that bone, so to speak.
All right, we're going to come back. We got more with Jason Middleton right after this. Let's check in with Jennifer live in the KFI 24-hour news.
And we're keeping an eye this morning on a new Twilight series that is coming to Lionsgate. A week since Warner Brothers announced that new Harry Potter TV series now, reports say a Twilight series is also now in the works. Tesla's reporting first quarter electric results that came in right near Wall Street estimates, and Facebook users can now apply for a share of $725 million in a privacy settlement. The deal resolves a class action lawsuit that alleged Facebook allowed Cambridge Analytica to harvest the personal data of 87 million users between May of 2007 and December 2022. We've got more on the 405 in just a moment.
So we're talking about housing, and what do you think the value of your house is now? Well, it's about as high as I think it's going to get. Values are flattening, mortgage rates are actually down, so a good time to borrow against the equity in your home is pretty high. If you need $75,000 or more, let me suggest going to HMS Capital. They'll help you borrow that money. And I know how good they are. I've done 2 mortgages with them over the years. They found the best interest rates out there. Service impeccable. That's HMS Capital. No appraisals, credit report fees. Call 833-255-5698. That's 833-255-5698. Visit hmscapital.com. That's hmscapital.com. SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a gorgeous sunny day ahead with temperatures in the 70s to right at 80s. This report is brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Let's get a look at that drive. More on the 405.
Oh boy, busy place. As I speak to you guys now, I'm right over the 405, 605 interstate. Go back, go north on the 605. But I just want to warn you, if you're heading for LAX, it's not it's dreadful awful, but it's slow and it starts around the 710. Now the carpool lane pushes it all the way up, but it's just kind of a slow drive. So got a few extra minutes. I think you'll be okay. There's a few little sections that stop and go in the middle there, so it's just a couple going through. And the 105 again, that was another busy one. They had to wait till you get past Springdale before that last little spring that the airport was okay. Again, we're on the 605. I think it might be from northbound probably. That's what I wrote it. I'll take it out for you. Jeff Fogg, AFI in the sky.
Pricing the spring at Whole Foods Market. Organic strawberries are just $4.29 per pint with time through April 25th. Your smoothies, breakfast bowls, and shortcake dreams just got a whole lot brighter. While supplies last, shop in store or online. Terms apply.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com. Tim Carlo, Carlos Chevrolet, Costa Mesa. We have Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, and all electric Bolt EVs. Our inventory is back and we're dealing at CarlosChevrolet.com. Find new roads at Carlos Chevrolet, the Orange County original since 1964. New Line is here for the hard workers, for the ones rolling up their sleeves, working around the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. New Line is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship anytime. Your shipping and industrial supply specialist. Visit uline.com. Why should you choose Sweet James if you're hurt in a car, motorcycle, or trucking accident? I'll tell you the results speak for themselves. Here are some of the settlements won for injured victims by the attorneys at Sweet James. $49 million won for a client hurt in a multiple vehicle accident. $11 million won for a client hurt in a trucking accident. $1 million for a client hurt in a motorcycle accident. Sweet James wins for clients hurt in these types of cases 98% of the time. They settle more money in 1 year than most firms settle in their life. So when you're hurt in an accident and results matter to you, call the attorneys at Sweet James. They nothing to win. They can't guarantee the outcome of any case, but it is important to have an experienced and successful law firm on your side. Get a free consultation at 1-800-9-MILLION. 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-9. 000. Sweetjames.com. Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 22nd. Find a collective fund near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug misuse before it starts. Hi there, I'm Joel Orchard. Join me this Sunday for How to Money. We'll talk all things personal finance and help you learn how to save, invest, and enjoy more of what matters. How to Money with Joel Orchard. Sundays at noon on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. And this is KFI Handle here on Thursday, April 20th. And it's time every Thursday we do Macro with Jason Middleton. Jason heard Sunday right here on KFI on his financial show called Macro with Jason Middleton. Very clever. Yeah, Robin came up with it. Did? Okay. She has a contract, but yeah, you don't have to worry. 2 to 4 p.m. every Sunday right here. Hey, Facebook. $725 billion settled, all going to us. I get that. Yeah, it's going, it's a class action, I think it was a class action, and let me tell you how class actions normally work. I mean, you know, but I want to point something out like you learn. Plaintiffs, that's us, people who are going to get money. The only people that get money are the lawyers. Okay, just to let you know.
There was a case in here, Kellogg's, or one of the big cereal companies, in which this is the case in which they offered 16 ounces or 32 ounces in the cereal box, and that settled. And they said that's a lie. It's not 32 inches, and they were doing it by volume. Now it's by weight. It lied because it was, I get quote misrepresentation, and it was $1 billion settlement. Lawyers got several $1 million. Everybody got a coupon for 35 cents off their next box. So, Facebook, $725 million settlement, which seems like a lot of money, but when you talk about hundreds of millions of people that use Facebook, number one, how are they going to spread that money out, and how do I get mine? Well, the window, you're right, the window's pretty, 2007 to 2022. So if you were a user sometime in that window of time, you can go online. I did it this morning to test it out, and I went to the, and we'll put it up on the show notes and put it up on the socials and everything, but you submit a claim, it takes about 5 minutes. You just put your username in, put some identifying information in there, and then you say, hey, when we pay you out, where do you want it to go? Now, I chose Venmo, and so I got a text immediately saying, put this code in, and then we'll know it's really you, and that's how it went down. You can choose other things too. Now, how much you're going to get? Yeah, depends on how many people submit claims. That's fair, okay? And the submission of claims deadline is August of this year. Okay, so with that, I mean, if I don't know you, there is no chance that I would be doing it, and I have been on Facebook. Now, when it comes to this settlement, they have the basis because they know how many people have gone on, when they went on, and even going back to 2002, is that right? May of 2007. So, okay, so 2007. Can they figure out that in June of 2008, I used Facebook? Oh, yeah, come on, of course. Okay, so we're generating that much data every day as a species. Yes, they can track all of that stuff. No, don't forget, the reason May 2007 sticks out is because of, remember these two magic words, Cambridge Analytica? Of course. Okay, this is Facebook paying up for this without saying they did anything wrong, of course, right? So we have a lot of those settlements going on this week. Yeah, no kidding. But back we go to the cereal box. If you bought cereal, this brand, over the last 5 years, well, I certainly keep receipts for cereal boxes from 5 years ago. So it gets really weird. This one gets easy. Any idea of the amount of money that we're talking about? And is it predicated on how often you went on Facebook, how long you were on the platform? These parameters around that necessarily. Now, they might have to show that work, and they're below the window kind of work later on, but I didn't see that for sure. Now, how much money? I don't know. We were talking about $500 million usually, probably over that time period. You can only do it once. Like I have like show pages from old shows I had back in the Bay Area. You can't do it there either. You got to do it only once. And anybody can get in there and try it. And they will also automatically tell you if you're not qualified for that, which is also good. I mean, you're right. I honestly think that it's going to be one of those. You get their check in the mail. It's worth more just to throw it away than it is to go to the ATM and deposit it. Makes sense. Okay, let's talk about the layoffs at Meta. I am reading a book about Zuckerberg and the company itself. I got to tell you, he is pretty big. And not in a hugely negative, he's going to kill you way, but in business, yeah, it's a pretty negative, he's going to kill you way. Yeah, yeah. Well, he calls this year is going to be the year of efficiency. I think everybody saw that as the year of head lopping, and that's exactly what happened. So when he wants these layoffs to improve the bottom line last month, he started this month with the layoffs. So he's closing the London office. That's only 100 people or so, but they're all moving back to the U.S. Now, next month is when things are going to roll into WhatsApp and Instagram and other categories within the Meta umbrella. What I find the most interesting now, or a very interesting concept, is these entrepreneurs, guys who start these companies at age 14, for example, and become billionaires by the time they're 17, is they're running companies. Zuckerberg is running one of the biggest companies on the planet, and he has zero experience in that. Right. Normally, when you have a CEO, I mean, they're going through the ranks of the management ranks, and by the time they hit CEO, they're 35 years. Yeah, that's 20. Yeah, and so Well, it's Sheryl Sandberg, actually, who runs the company. Yeah. But still, when you look at companies that are run that way, and I know we're speculating here because there isn't any proof out there. Well, for example, do you find Zuckerberg a good CEO? Okay, for a guy who has no experience and created, let's find out who's ugliest, the platform that he created, or the website he created, Harvard, right. As a shareholder, sure, I don't have an issue with the way he's managing the company. His shares are up 85% this year. They were down 66% last year. Ever since he's laid off for an out, and his efficiency a year, that seems to be dedicated to the bottom line. As a shareholder, sure, I'm fine with it. Now, founders / CEOs / chairman, they're all the same person, that don't have to answer to a board, that worries me. That's where management issues really can come through. And I think you're looking at that with Elon Musk and several. It's not always cases, but several. Yeah, and the CEO generally picks the board. I remember reading a book about Eisner, and the board, and he was his board. Yeah, I mean, he just owned it outright. Yeah, and Tim Cook inherited the board at Apple from Steve Jobs, because Steve Jobs and Cook and groomed him to take over the CEO. So why would you change the board necessarily? Now, you do get activist investors. I like calling the story because I'm a nerd. But sometimes those companies get a little too insular when it comes to exposure to risk. Okay. Also, I just got NBC News is reporting, guess what is shutting down its news department? BuzzFeed. It's shutting down. BuzzFeed News is shutting down. Says it's part of a cost-cutting measure, according to the board. Yeah, going out of business is a really good cost-cutting measure. Just the news department, but it's 15% of its workforce. And guess what? She's going to replace that. Artificial intelligence. That makes sense. Yep. It's going to replace us. That's also on my show this weekend. There was the voice of Microsoft Bing in Ireland. It's a woman. And her friend said, hey, I heard you doing this other company too. She had no idea. AI had stolen her voice, information, and everything. I think we're going to do that story tomorrow. It's coming out, and who do you sue? Who has the copyright? Right. Who you study? I'm talking and cease and desist. Who do you write a cease and desist to? We are in a hype cycle similar and bigger than the iPhone. This is existential phenomenon. All right, that's this weekend, Jason, Sundays 2 to 4 p.m. Take care, Jason. Coming up, Mo Kelly, new things with Mo. We'll finish Thursday with Mo. KFI AM 640, and let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Former LA Mayor Richard Reardon has died. He served from 1993 to 2001 and worked to rebuild the city after the Rodney King riots and the Northridge earthquake. I saw the city in need of safety and economic opportunity. I saw a city desperate for hope. That was from his inauguration in 1993. Reardon was the only Republican mayor of LA since 1961. Mayor Pat says Reardon has always had a place in his heart for the kids of LA and worked to improve how the city serves its youth and communities. Reardon's family announced yesterday that he passed peacefully at his home in Brentwood, surrounded by his wife Elizabeth, family, friends, and his trusted pet dog. He was 92. The first mosquito pesticide drop of the year is headed to San Diego County to combat diseases spread by mosquitoes. Helicopter drops will be done next Wednesday and Thursday if necessary. Aerial drops are carried out once a month between April and October each year, covering roughly 1,300 acres of mosquito breeding areas. Officials say the larvicide does not hurt people or pets. The Supreme Court's taking more time to think over access to the abortion pill, mifepristone. The justices will decide tomorrow if they want to uphold the reversal of the FDA's approval for the drug used for medical abortion. ABC's Rachel Scott says the justices voted yesterday to delay the decision to consider a ruling by a lower court that was cap restrictions on the pill to prevent women from accessing these drugs after 7 weeks of pregnancy. The ruling would also require 3 in-person doctor visits and make the pill unavailable by mail. A federal appeals court in New York has temporarily blocked a House Judiciary Committee subpoena for testimony from former prosecutor Mark Pomerantz, who was involved in a criminal investigation of former President Trump. The investigation is now being led by Brad to stop what he called an unprecedented intrusion into a state prosecution. But a district court judge ruled the committee had a right to question Pomerantz. Aaron Dezerski says the appellate court gave the two sides 2 days to submit arguments. The Washington State Legislature has passed a ban on dozens of semi-automatic rifles. The bill will be sent to the state's governor, who's expected to sign it into law. The ban comes after multiple failed attempts in Washington's legislature and amid the most mass shootings during the first 100 days of the calendar year in the U.S. since 2009. The law would block the sale, distribution, manufacture, and importation of more than 50 gun models and rifles. We'll get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky and the 9-1 after Sports with Lane. 3 sports, 4 games, 4 losses for SoCal East. Let's count them now. The Lakers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 2 of that playoff series by a score of 103-93. The LA Kings fell to the Edmonton Oilers 4-2 in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoff. The Dodgers lost to the Mets 5-3. In that game, Mets pitcher Max Scherzer was ejected over the alleged use of a sticky substance. He denies it was anything other than approved rosin. And the Angels fell to the Yankees 3-2 in 10 innings. Now, the Clippers play Game 3 in their series against the Phoenix Suns at 7:30 today on AM 1150. The Dodgers are at the Cubs today at 4:40. Michael Grove is set to start. You can hear that in HD Live from the Galvin Motors broadcast booth on the iHeartRadio app. And the Angels will conclude their series with the Yankees with Patrick Sandoval started. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports. If you own a small business and you got through COVID and you have 5 employees or more that came through COVID with you, you can be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000. That's per employee. Do the math on that. That's some serious money. So let me suggest going to getrefunds.com. You'll answer a few questions online, takes under 10 minutes, and you'll see if your business qualifies for this refund. And there's no charge up front either. You're not going to get your fee. They don't get paid unless you get paid. It's contingency arrangement. And businesses of all types can qualify. Those are the PPP and nonprofits seeing increases in sales during COVID. They are experts in this payroll tax refund program, having returned over $3 billion to businesses. So, go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button, and answer those few questions. Getrefunds.com. SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a mostly sunny day ahead for the temperatures, highs in the 70s to right at 80. Right now it's 55 in Irvine, 54 in San Clemente. Let's get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky. Let's go back.
West Side 91 President Place, both the Riverside and Artesia Freeway. So we'll talk about west of the I-5 now over towards Gardena at the end of the freeway, actually the Artesia Freeway. But west 91 at Carmenita, before you get to 605, there was a problem in lanes, and that's why it's really slow now. Getting through that West 91 I-5 interchange to about Beach Boulevard, that thing's full of proof. But then more slowing going over towards 710. It's been an Alameda problem, for all morning long, so counterpose all true. Now, up to the minute, that's the Omega here, right here at KFI, we were spinning around the 605 at Beverly Boulevard. Carpool lane was blocked. That's the reason for that. Well, slow, back up our phone goes out to everything. All the way back to the 105. It's really a tough job. So it was in the carpool lane, and they cleared, they got off at Rose Hill, so all lanes are up again. That's what it's all about. Even the southbound traffic, really slow coming down to the 60. We're going to turn East 50 and have a look at that in just a minute. But again, just a real slow morning. One more time on that 405 from Q Beach all the way up to LAX to Swan. Again, it's one of those just feels slow all the way. Jeff, AFI in the sky.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 22nd. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug issues before it starts.
Are you worried about your financial assets after recent events in banking?
Cut through the market uncertainty with the tried and true safe haven against volatility. Gold! When it comes to investing in gold and silver, Legacy Precious Metals is the company you trust. Legacy Precious Metals is making it easier than ever to invest in precious metals with its revolutionary new online platform. With just a few clicks, you can open your account, select the metals, and start investing. They can store your metals in vaults or ship them directly to you. And you'll have access to a personalized dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime, putting you in complete control of your money. With Legacy Precious Metals, diversify your portfolio beyond bonds and stocks, safeguard your retirement, and preserve your portfolio's value against inflation. Protect your hard-earned money from market fluctuations. Call Legacy Metals today.
Tiki Ray's in there. Shout out to Tiki Ray.
2173. Or create your free account now at buylegacygold.com. That's buylegacygold.com. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before.
I love how Tiki Ray is just like, fuck you, I do what I want.
Any other injury firm in the world protecting America. Fighting for users for the people.com for it all.
Tiki Ray, just let you know, I'm just testing the Twitter Spaces just to see if I can like have it go all day without crashing and running. So tonight we're gonna have a really big space. I'll make sure that you get an invite to around. Feel free to join. You're a sweetheart.
Everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. If you just any of the segments this morning or any segment on any show here on KFI, we're on demand. Just go to the iHeartRadio app, and the show is on demand. The shows are on demand, and you can follow us on the iHeartRadio app. Some of the big stories we're covering, a couple of big ones. First of all, SpaceX, the giant Starship rocket that took off this morning. Huge success, and all it did was blow up 4 minutes into the flight, but it still is a success because Musk said getting it off the ground is successful. And then the case for the abortion drug, which I can't pronounce, mifepristone, is... Yeah, I know, I don't even try anymore. Let's just call it the abortion drug. The Supreme Court kicked that one down the road, so we're going to get an opinion as well, probably by tomorrow night, is just the thing. Now, it's time for Mo Kelly. Musings with Mo heard every night, 7 to 10 p.m. right here on KFI. Mo, good morning. Good morning. All right, Netflix. Big deal ending its DVD service, and that is a big deal because Netflix effectively invented the genre of doing movies at home. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. So let's talk about that. So part of their success was built upon convenience, and when Netflix came on the scene, Blockbuster dominated the home video space. But Netflix said, why don't we make it even more convenient for consumers by sending them actual DVDs so they don't have to get off their behind, they don't have to go to the video store, they don't have to worry about late fees or anything of that nature, and it revolutionized the industry. 25 years later, the industry has moved on from DVDs, and Netflix realized it was bleeding money trying to cater to a very small portion of its space, and they're trying to convert those people who are using DVDs even still to convert them to full-blown subscribers to the streaming service. Now, this is my take on this. I want you to comment on my view, and that is the reason Netflix is the monster, or certainly was the monster in the world of streaming, is because much like Jeff Bezos with Amazon, one of the first players out there to realize this is the future, way before anybody else. Absolutely. No, you're correct, but the problem with that is this was the first one into the market, and early domination of the market is not the long-term winner. We can talk about Motorola and cell phones. We can talk about IBM and computers. We can talk about EVs and Tesla. Once there's more competition in the market, then there has to be some sort of consideration for whether Netflix is better than everyone else. So they recently had an earnings call where they acknowledged that they had more competition than ever before, and part of the reason they're struggling is possibly the amount of money that they're spending on content alone. In 2024, they're expected to spend $217 billion just on content, and their only way of actually maximizing revenue is to build or further build their subscriber base. Yeah, also, well, the password business is going to be big, because I've always wondered, I can take my password and I give it to my family members and friends. For example, I think I have 5 users, 5 different devices on my Netflix subscription, and all 5 are being used, and all 5 are being used all of the time. Because I have friends and they're cracking down on that. I would think that even paying small amounts of money for the additional user is astronomical income for them. That's what they're betting. The question is whether the public we've already twice delayed this password crackdown lockdown feature rollout because of concerns of how the general public, people like you and me, would react. And I think it is an overestimation. I think it is really generous read for people to assume that nothing have 5 people on your account as I do in my family, and they're all the same household, but we don't live in the same physical location. I think it's a generous read to assume that you get 4 extra accounts if you say you can't share that password, or you can only share it for a nominal fee. And that's why Netflix is very concerned about stunting their own growth. Bill, you and I talked about this last year, how Netflix is bleeding some 200,000 subscribers per quarter, and they stemmed that flow of bloodletting, but they're trying to make sure that they don't go back in a negative direction. And there's concerns, and I think it's fair to be concerned that this password sharing crackdown will start a negative flow again. And and then the other issue is, and this is the part, and we talked about this before too, the part that really, I would almost say where people are pretty okay with it, but paying for subscriptions and still, or even getting subscriptions streaming services and going through commercials drives me nuts. That was the whole point of streaming services, was not to have commercials. And why people are accepting this commercial stuff is beyond me. And I know it's about money and saving some money, but come on, for God's sake, and just use one less. Well, you talked about shareholders. I think Jason Middleton talked about it best. When you have a publicly traded company and they're on this hamster wheel of always showing subscriber growth or revenue growth, this is what you end up with. And the user experience, the end user experience, is diminished. Now, we have a Gen Z generation which doesn't even necessarily remember growing up with broadcast TV and commercials, and they're probably reticent to accept all these added commercials to these subscription prices. I don't think it's a long-term strategy which should work. So you think this model of commercials within the streaming service is either going to diminish or just disappear? I think it's short-term gains. Yes, you get some of the customers who are not willing to pay a lot more money or will pay for a lesser tier, but that growth is limited. There's a finite ceiling on how many people you can add to these streaming services just because you're adding in a tier. Yeah, crazy. And so you got that. You got the extra money that you can make by separating out the number of people that use a example might be 5, in your case 5, and you're going to be paying for the second or third or fourth one, even nominal amounts of money. We'll be back with more Mo Kelly. Let's check in with Jennifer Jones, please, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Alex Baldwin's movie Rust will resume filming today in Montana. Production of the movie was moved to Montana's Yellowstone film ranch after a cinematographer was accidentally killed by a Top Gun while filming in New Mexico in 2021. Snapchat is getting serious about chat. The company announced yesterday its customizable My AI is now accessible to all users, and comedian Martin Lawrence gets a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It'll be unveiled today. It'll honor the actor and comedian for a career that's included starring in the movies Bad Boys and, of course, his comedy that was on TV, Martin. We'll get a look at your drive at BKFI in the Sky in just a moment. Unfiltered, chlorinated tap water, it just doesn't cut it. Obviously, it's safe, but my God, the way it tastes. A light source system gives you that filtered, very safe water, and it's delicious. And from every tap in the house, the water is filtered from outside. It filters out chlorine, contaminants, retains those healthy minerals that taste great. A light source system is maintenance-free, no filters, salt, and monthly servicing. They install it, you use it. Completely forget about it. You're bathing, cooking, washing dishes, clothes, of course you're drinking in what is a fetid system for over 10 years. You can own a light source system for as low as $75 per month on approval of credit. This offer ends April 30. Call 800-803-2696, 800-803-2696. Visit lightsourcewater.com. Taste and feel the difference. SoCal weather from KFI. Gorgeous sunny day ahead with highs in the 70s to right at 80. This report is brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Let's get a look at your drive with BKFI in the Sky in the 210.
Well, it's really something. Good morning. But proof positive that LA traffic makes no sense at all. Look at the West 210 from the 57 to the 605. It's full speed. Go figure. Now, from the 605
so far in the Pasadena, it gets to be what we're used to for the stuff in the morning. It's real slow. And we just flew over Myrtle. There's a stall, second lane from the left, west of Santa Myrtle, all by itself. So freeway service patrol, if you're up, we could use your help there, that's for sure. But again, it looks like a generous baseball all the way into Pasadena. 605 northbound, after he teaches, there was quite a few problems. The last of which was at Beverly. We watched, I think it clear, was the carpool lane that was blocked after about 16 minutes ago. But that north 605 is just real slow now, all lanes open all the way up to the 60. Just hey, that's high in the sky. Did you hear? The wait is over. What wait? Car prices, they dropped. Get out. It ain't good. Over at Roto.com. Look it up. Roto.com. So now it's Jackson. Haven't seen any lower. Oh, at Roto, that's a great price. See? Wait a minute. Totally understand.
Find a new or pre-owned car of your dreams at any time on any device in just a few clicks. And at a great price by downloading the Roto app or check out Roto.com.
You probably already know that Rosetta Stone is one of the best ways to learn a language. But did you also know that they offer a lifetime subscription to all 25 of their languages? Dabble in French, try your hand at German, learn a bit of Japanese, or even explore Swedish. And right now, you can get 40% off Rosetta Stone's lifetime unlimited subscription. Visit RosettaStone.com today to purchase once and learn for life. Rosetta Stone, how language is learned.
This week on Leguizamo Does America, Young Leguizamo visits Miami to find out how this city became a mecca for Cubans leaving their homeland.
Since the Cuban Revolution, Cubans have been flocking to Miami any way they could, boat, plane, and raft. Little Havana is filled with crazy amounts of Latinx everything, but the best part is the people.
Leguizamo Does America, all new episodes Sunday, April 23rd at 10 p.m. Eastern on MSNBC and streaming on TikTok.
Hey, all, it's Steve Sharp. Are you running out of hot water? Water Heaters Only has been specializing in the repair and replacement of water heaters since 1968. That's over 54 years as the original water heater specialist. So visit waterheatersonly.com for zero-interest financing, terms and conditions apply, request quick service, or call to speak with a live operator 24 hours a day. Don't wait. Don't overpay. Visit waterheatersonly.com today. That's waterheatersonly.com. Portions of the following program will be recorded.
Proposition 888. $1.2 billion in bonds to fix the homelessness problem. Parents are setting $1 billion to reduce homelessness. Parent that $1.3 billion investment. $3.5 billion. Look at what it's done.
AM 640 handle here, Thursday morning, April 20th. At the end of the hours, I lock out, and during Cannon come aboard, I'll be taking phone calls for a handle on the law. Marginal legal advice, where I tell you you have absolutely no case. I'm going to give you some advice. You want to call 877-520-1150. I'm doing it off the air, and I'll be doing it for a while, so I'll be more than happy to give you advice. And I go through these calls very quickly. Back we go, musings with Mo Kelly, heard tonight, every night during the week, 7 to 10 p.m. Mo, a real interesting story. I mean, something that's going to affect every one of us in some way or another. And that's artificial insemination, which, of course, we've been talking about. And now, over the weekend, there was a song released by Drake, which was kind of neat, except it wasn't Drake. It was artificial intelligence. Sounded like Drake, seemed to have been written like Drake, sort of in his language, his style, and it was all artificial intelligence. It was all a computer. Man, is that going to just upend everything in the entertainment business? I would say yes and no. Yes, because we have to sort of see where the threats are coming, and we can't necessarily predict that. But no, there's legal precedent for name, image, and likeness protection and copyright for intellectual property or person's voice can be copyrighted. But for example, you don't need to call something McDonald's to know that if you're rolling up to a golden arches and you call it something else, it's still copyrighted infringement. So a person's voice can be copyrighted. A person's song, one round. Yeah, so there's precedent, but they can't necessarily foresee how it's going to be abused in every way. Well, how about this? Okay, so let's say it's a violation of your likeness. No issue about it. Sounds like you. It sounds like you've written it. Here comes a song. All right, it's out there on the internet. Okay, who do you sue? Well, you sue anyone who posts it or anyone who really profits from it. Yeah, like for example, this showed up on Spotify. It showed up on any number of music services. So there's a traceable way to figure out who posted it and probably who created it. Now, it's listed as ghostwriter, but the internet that works both ways. You're going to leave a digital trail, and if someone is profiting as you would from Spotify downloads and plays, well, that's attributable to someone. Okay, but when we talk about out there on the internet, it's like everybody has it. So Spotify releases it, okay, and then it has to be taken off Spotify. It's already out. It's done. The point is, it has become public. And in other songs, obviously in real performances, that you can trace down. Not in this one. And by the way, is this why that all these acts make money touring? No one makes money on releasing their music anymore. In part because most of the artists do not actually write their own music. I would push back on one thing as far as how you can practice, because the music is stacked as it is right now. That's how you have Shazam. That's how you have SoundHound. These are digitally encoded files where it can be identified. And like whack-a-mole, if you could post something on YouTube, which you don't have the rights to, it'll immediately be pulled down. And it's done automatically because of the copyright infringement, because it can be identified in a digital sense. And there's a way you can do it. Yeah, well, okay, I mean, we have that argument, that legal argument, because I'm saying once it's out, the Pandora's box has been opened, and you can't put the key back in the bottle, and you can't put the horse back into the bottle, and I could keep on going with all of those statements over and over again. All right, so it's have you listened to that song? I have not. I'm not a huge Drake fan. I listened to a little bit. It's not my keys, as they say. It sounds a lot like Drake. It really does. It's almost like my heart on my sleeve. And it's passable. If you didn't know, you listen very, very closely to stuff, you can say, that's not exactly Drake, but Drake usually uses auto-tune with his voice, so it's very easy to get confused by that. Yeah, I can sound like Britney Spears with auto-tune. I've always found that completely destroys music. But that's me. I just don't look like her. Doesn't look like her. Not quite. Not quite. The Rush movie production, it's back. And it's, as we know, it's moved to a different location. Not necessarily in the same place. Are you surprised that they came back and are going forward with the filming of this thing? I'm surprised that in place with the family of Marina Hutchins, the cinematographer who was killed on set. And this is sport. In other words, they have to complete it as part of a legal agreement. This doesn't mean that it's going to make money, but the realistic budget coming in was $7 million, and I think it's even more given all these other issues and relocation and any type of other legal entanglements that come out of this. I'm not surprised, given the legal responsibility to finish it. I'd be just surprised that the family would even ask for it to be finished. And I don't know if the family can stop it, but in terms of the lawsuits against the settlements have already hit, that's for sure. Now, my question is, do you have a $7 million film? That's basically a whole movie worth of Hollywood. I mean, that is virtually nothing. And they're going to get, I don't know how many millions, tens of millions of dollars of publicity. Far more than this film could ever garner. So, with that, is this thing going to make money? If they do not release it in theaters, I would say yes. If they do not release it in theaters, they would have more of a claim to the money which is earned for like movies. And I don't think it's a movie that people would care to actually spend $13, $14 to go see just because of morbid curiosity. If you put it on digital download and make it available for people at home, then you might make some money, but it's not going to be a huge money maker. Yeah, unless it's very good. I mean, honestly, do you think it's unlikely that it's very good? Yes, $7 million is $7 million, and I don't know if there's a recognizable cast beyond Alec Baldwin. It's not like he is this big box office draw himself. So it's unlikely just on the merit of the movie. Now, let's go back to streaming for a moment. We only have a couple minutes to go. Are there any blockbusters out there that I'm not seeing any, like Game of Thrones or Fabulous Mrs. Maisel or all that? I'm not seeing anything going on right now. Are you? No, part of it is there's going to go down the box office concerns. The films that are going to the theaters. There are fewer films that can be shown in theaters this year than before the pandemic. So there are fewer opportunities for movie theaters to make money. There's also the writers' strike that people are concerned about, which is going to halt certain production and move certain movies and TV shows back if they can't get them done by the first or likely beginning of the strike. And also, there aren't any huge blockbuster movies on par with what we've seen in previous summers. There is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which will come out early in May, but outside of that, this past weekend, and there's a Mission Oscar movie, but it doesn't have the kind of exciting medium summer that we usually see. All right, Mo, as always, good stuff. Tonight, 7 to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday, and associated with us at Mr. Mo Kelly. We'll catch you tonight. Appreciate the speaker. We actually think the Fast and Furious 10. Oh my God. Mission Predictable, what? I was talking about that at the beginning. It was like Mission Impossible 10 and Transformers 59. Actually, yeah, Mission Predictable. All right, guys. Phone number 877-520-1150. Phone call starting in just a few moments after Gary and Shannon come aboard. And I'll be off the air, still with Gary and Shannon on the phone, and I go through these calls very quickly. So jump on board. Obviously, have your ridiculous question answered by even more ridiculous answers. 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. Next up, Gary and Shannon. And Gary, what do you have going today? Well, Elon Musk says it was a success, but we'll talk about the SpaceX explosion post-launch today. Also, some very hot jet fuel talk. And in the 11 o'clock hour, lick. AFI KOSC HTC Los Angeles, Orange County. He also went to school there. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The man who ran into a group of teens and killed one of them near Westlake High School is a former student at that school. KFI's Blake Foley reports live the man was homeless and living in his car. He's going on a rampage. He allegedly attacked two employees at a Walmart in Queens Valley. Then got into some sort of fight with family members in Camarillo, then headed back to Dallas and hopefully ran into the teens on Tuesday. This employee for Walmart in Queens Valley says the man stabbed a man who works in the garden area. I was on my motorcycle on my break. I come back and I find a lot of cop cars and a whole bunch of ambulances. Police say I hit and killed 15-year-old Leslie Welling about an hour after the attack at Walmart. Welling's sister was next to him during the crash. Both were waiting on a bus to go home and celebrate their mother's birthday. The driver is set to be arraigned later today. Reporting live, Blake Foley, KFI News. A weapons-making operation has turned up in Costa Mesa while detectives were investigating a road rage incident in Santa Ana. Sergeant Maria Lopez said 14 guns and 13 ghost gun frames were found, along with other gun-making parts. We did find the center of the drill class, and all that is really just material to make certain parts of a weapon. And unfortunately, now the rest of the components online. Lopez says the investigation started last month when a guy pulled a gun on a driver. The man was arrested Friday and booked on criminal threats and multiple weapons and drug violations. The man helped the city rebound from the riots in 1992 and led the city when it recovered from the Northridge earthquake has died. Businessman Richard Reardon served as mayor from 1993 to 2001. During that time, the last Republican to hold the office of mayor of LA streamlined the city's permitting process, worked to make it easier for film and TV makers to shoot in the city, and expanded the LAPD. His family says he died peacefully yesterday at the age of 92. A part-time employee of Magic Mountain has filed a lawsuit over a rumor that she kissed a co-worker at a party. The employee claims the dropout was ordered by her supervisor. In front of them, they retaliated against her by removing her from weekend shift and a high-paying position as a VIP tour guide. California says she was looking for $250 a per VIP tour.
He was hired in 2017 and also claimed to the force to work 14 hours without a break. Rabbi said she wants $500,000 in damages for mental and emotional distress, along with anxiety, depression, headache, tension, and other physical ailments. Magic Mountain did not reply to a request for comment. He's correctly. Goodbye, Neil.
At least 15 tornadoes were reported across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Iowa in the last 24 hours. ABC's Real says that the rescue crews in Oklahoma are assessing damage from large and extremely dangerous tornadoes that killed at least 2 people. Multiple reports of injuries and people trapped in shelters. Sunny Oklahoma getting hit hard. Heavy winds damaging buildings, toppling trees, downed power lines, and wrecking cars. The National Weather Service says the tornado hit the west central part of the state. Large falls of snow were seen hitting the state as well. There's been a rescue in connection with a mass shooting at a birthday party in Gainesville, Alabama. 4 people were killed in Saturday's shooting and more than 30 people were hurt.
Days later, local, state, and federal law enforcement tracked down and arrested 2 suspects, one 17, the other 16. Both are charged with assault.
ABC's Jim Ryan says the third man has now also formally been charged with reckless murder in connection with the shooting. 1 in 4 teens across middle and high schools in the U.S. say they've abused prescription stimulus for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder over the last year. A new study published by JAMA Network yesterday identified correlations of misuse of medication in schools with more white, college-educated parents and with more moderate or high rates of binge drinking. The study also found that schools with a high rate of treatment for ADHD had a 36% increased chance of those drugs being misused, suggesting that children with legitimate prescriptions may be sharing it with their friends. ABC's Ariel Resnick says it's a wake-up call for parents and school administrators. And SpaceX Giant New rocket exploded and crashed into the Gulf of Mexico minutes after blasting off on its first test flight. The plan aims to send the nearly 400-foot Starship rocket on the round-the-world trip from the southern tip of Texas. It did not carry people or satellites. We are absolutely a big step ahead. Even though it's not as many steps as we plan to take today, we are definitely a step ahead. That former NASA astronaut Katie Coleman says so many things had to go right for the rocket to even leave the launch pad. The company says it plans to use Starship to send people and cargo to the moon and eventually Mars. Taking a look at your KFI Financial Report brought to you by Jacoby and Myers. The Dow is down 99, S&P is down 20, NASDAQ is down 58, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.91. Don't wait. Maximize your compensation after an accident. Call Jacoby and Myers now. Let's keep premium since 1972. SoCal weather from by a gorgeous sunny day ahead with highs in the 70s to right at 80, even warmer for tomorrow. 80s pushing 90 by Saturday, and then back into the 70s and 80s for Sunday, and the 60s and 70s by Monday. So now it is 54 in Orange and in Downey, 52 in Pacific Palisades. Let's take a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky, and this time we're checking out the 210 again.
I'll get to that in just a minute. But again, I just want to review this. The 210 is done. As busy as all of our freeways are here this morning, the 210 where the section of it was in pretty good shape, and that was from the 57 to the 605. 605 to Pasadena got to be the usual stuff in the crawl. There was a solid hurdle. We came down to 110 out of South Ave. That was good. But what I'm looking at now, this is an unusual problem. We're over here earlier. There was a crash reported on Manning Avenue. We're talking about West LA here, but now with the freeway has been impacted. This is the eastbound and the Santa Monica freeway past Overlook, not far from the 405, but the 2 right lanes are blocked. It's an unusual crash. I heard that might have a tree down or something like that. I can't figure it out, but I'm directly over it. DHC is there. They got 3 cruisers down there in a car. So 2 lanes are blocked. And listen to this now. If you're coming away from the Palisades on CTH, the eastbound 10 is back up solid, back to the McClure Tunnel, which is quite serious. The westbound traffic's always busy, and it got busier, slower, because everybody's looking. Westbound, all lanes are open. This is a tough one. If you get on around the Robertson from here in, it's a whole different world. Jeff Fogg, KFI in the sky. This hour is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Let's go places.
In this week's marketing report, Raja Manar, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer of Master.
Oh man, these motherfuckers. Basically, he's probably saying when he gets my name, so fuck him. It's out there. Send her
And
out.
what they find is that in this print, it's based on itself and equal. As the number one audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com. Those partners make each other better. They show us what's possible beyond ourselves. At Health Medicine of U.S. Food, being partners is more than just a goal. It's who we are. We are committed to offering you the personalized healthcare you need. With deep expertise and dedication, we'll work with you to reach your potential. Because the next great partnership is you and tech. Together, we are limitless. Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less pay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Do you find yourself stuck in timeshare? You feel real fast about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck Dallas, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now to get the timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-334-2266. That's 800-334-2266. 800-334-2266. Bill Handel here, and if you have a legal question and you want marginal legal advice, you can call me right now, because I'll help you off the air. 877-520-1150. That's 877-520-1150. Right now, California Edison wants to remind you that we all have the power to make a clean energy California. More stimulating thought.
And I have radio station. What up, my homies? You ready to get
Gary Hoffman.
You're a nice guy, but you're lightweight, and I know for a fact that your teeth fit a guy.
Shannon Barron, who's the most listening woman in the world.
Hey, I'm sorry, what is this going on?
I told you it was like only if your grandma was looking to brace yourself because you were going to hit the hell from the door.
Gary and Shannon.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, no, I get it now.
I roll my eyes, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
And I roll my eyes.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, this could be a national holiday, or I'm going to get soaked in.
It's kind of resurgent. You know, when we were when I was in high school, you were much older than me. When I was in high school, it was a thing. It was a cool thing to celebrate.
It was also arguably a origin ceremony in County.
Sure. And that was the 90s. And then it kind of became passe in the 2000s. And it was like, okay, boomer, 420, right? Now, the kids are into it again. People are into it again.
I saw a statistic that we spend more money on cannabis than we do on chocolate.
Right.
Part of it is it's more expensive. But
weed used to be affordable, everybody. So back in the day when
bag was a dime bag.
we all had pagers, and you didn't go to the store and pick out your designer weed for 4 times the cost.
I just roll my eyes at people who are like, today's the day you gotta get paid. Today's not the day I have to.
Well, I haven't heard anyone say that. I think it's just most people who smoke weed do it probably religiously. They probably do it every 5 days, 7 days a week.
It's no different than yesterday.
It's celebrate. It's like National Pinata Day or National Animal Cracker Day. You know, it's a day to take a moment and think about the glory that weed has brought some people. That said, kids, don't do drugs.
I have very bad.
You have friends. We have friends who were gonna get paid yesterday, but put it off because they heard that if you go to the weed stores today, they're offering free, like weed, you know, like, hey, buy work, whatever, get a
Yeah, they a weird $400. I don't know. I'm pretty deep in the culture there. I have no idea. Buy some grass and get some marijuana for free. Literally, there were people out as I was walking down the hall yesterday who were like, "Oh yeah, we're not going today to buy our stuff. We go tomorrow." And we get a bonus. I found this meme that I sent to one of our friends. It says, "Mom found the dab porch. Now I got to make creme brulee for the whole family, or I'm out." So I sent it to one of our friends who knows the dab knows what that is. And he wrote, "LOL, I actually pretended my porch was for creme brulee." You know, it wasn't high today, at least not yet. Elon Musk wasn't. Exploded into its flight, or as they like to call it, and this is the best thing I've heard in a long time, rapid unscheduled disassembly. Yes, that's a perfect description. This was the same crowd when the thing Starship from SpaceX. It took off from a launch facility there in Texas, made it 4 minutes into, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to get past the towers, but made it 4 minutes into its flight. It was about to position itself so that it could detach the main booster and fire the second stage. And then, if you were watching it like I was on the SpaceX YouTube channel, by the way, 2 million plus people were watching at the same time I was. That's like a high-rated television show these days. Anyway, it starts tumbling, and my wife and I are sitting there, because that's what we do first thing in the morning, is watch rockets blast off. And we said, "Oh, that doesn't look good." And I said, "Yeah, he hasn't said anything for a few minutes." The guy who was calling the shots, basically. And then the entire starship stack is saying to rotate, and we should have had separation by now. Obviously, this is does not appear to be a normal situation. Yeah, it does appear to be spinning, but I do want to remind everyone that everything after clearing the tower was icing on the cake. Yeah, come on now, take your break. But rapid unscheduled disassembly, whoever came up with that gets a gold star. Now, these are the ones that are supposed to be reusable. They plan to use the Starship to send people and cargo to the moon first, and then Mars and beyond. You know, this test flight obviously not carrying people or satellites. It was just in all honesty, they use it as a possibility. That's why they do this. It's always a possibility. It's what Elon Musk is willing to do to get it right. He's willing to lose, what, $3 billion rocket, whatever it was. NASA's administrator, Bill Nelson, also known as T. Gregory's newest best friend, said this is actually a pretty good first step. This first step, SpaceX is loaded stuff to realize to work it until it works. It looks like they got through the first stage of this big monster rocket. That's a real accomplishment. We'll give you a report on what happens with the second stage, but I'm very encouraged that they've gotten along this far. Yeah, so good news. In all honesty, it looked very dramatic. But it was, according to them, it was a success. From sexy rockets to the sexy jet feeling we go. I know. Just turn the air on in here, cool it off. Letting up for a good time. Jet fuel. Gary and Jenna will continue to get a fire. But I was trying so hard. Who knows? Maybe Jay O'Brien will be in his underwear. Oh, my. ABC, do it. Do it. Yeah, do it. Jennifer Jones Lee, absolutely. I got a Russian premiere of the International Space Station. Get it? Russia is premiering its first feature film shot in space. It's called The Challenge. It was shot on the International Space Station in October 2021. That's when Russia sent an actor and a film director to the ISS for a 12-day shoot. And Ocean is going to play a second Coachella performance just 10 days after they say the set was a little bumpy during the festival's first weekend. And the Oakland A's are purchasing land near the Vegas Strip, and the team hopes to move to Wyoming City by 2027. SoCal weather from KFI, we got a nice sunny day ahead. Temperatures will be in the 70s, so right at 80. This report is brought to you by Whole Foods Market. From the Southern California Toyota dealer shopping center, let's go places. Let's get a review of that 210 again.
That's probably my fault. I took the function here, but no simplicity. I want to quote our buddy Eric. They just think the drive. It is one of those mornings here as well. Pretty much marked there for a safe up to UT Riverside and the fall. So just be prepared for that. Now, the one that we are over is the Santa Monica Freeway. Wow, it's getting tough to describe this. I'll start with the westbound drive. You're kind of used to a slow drive, but it is just a super crawl. We had a number of problems on the way out, but from the 110 now all the way out to the 405, it's really turned into a stop-and-go kind of thing all the way. Most of the problem now is spectators going due to an eastbound problem past Overland. Really a serious problem. Now, really affecting too if you're coming off PCH, if you move down from Malibu, PCH to the Palisades to the McClure Tunnel, the eastbound 10, the Santa Monica Freeway, just stands from the tunnel all the way out to Overland. So it really makes it a tough driving through West LA and Santa Monica, Brentwood. Boy, it's really, really tough. One, this one coming up. Don't go away. Jeff Bond, AFI in the sky.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples is celebrating Earth Day on April 23rd and 24th. Save 15% on your purchase of $30 when you recycle package Staples. Offer valid 4/22 and 4/23 only. Limit one reward amount. Exclusion applies. Visit staples.com/recycling for details. Cut the cord with your old pump and recycle it at Staples.
Joe Handel here, and if you have a legal question and you want legal advice, you can call me right now because I'll help you off the air. 877-520-1150. That's 877-520-1150 right now. Like my new bike? I thought you buying a car. I tried. No availability. Look, please. Roto.com has cars. Really? Tons of them. And they're great prices. Check Roto on your phone. Wow, that's a lot of cars. Didn't they take a trade-in for a bicycle? It's brand new. Okay,
The wait is over. New and pre-owned cars are available right now. Start saving by downloading the Roto app or check out ROTHSCHILD.com. Advance your career and earn a master's in accounting at Azusa Pacific University's Leland School of Accounting. With scholarships available and 100% job placement after graduation, there's never been a better time to advance your accounting career. Visit atu.edu today. What's your favorite technology that exclusive deals have in common? A chance to rock out with Nike's biggest superstars. Just as much job pack your envelope for your chance to win a trip to the iHeart Country Festival. Scan the QR code and stream an iHeart Country station. Then listen for details on how to enter the $100 instantly just by opening your envelope. Today, no purchase necessary. Words are prohibited. Please check with my job pack envelopes or jobpack.com for details. Winter chicken dinners are on at Whole Foods Market. Animal welfare certified organic air-chilled whole chicken is $2.99 per pound this time through April 25th. Crispy oven, gravel lemon, and some olive oil, and through the fireworks. Lots of high glass stuff in store or online. Turn to 5.
This is Nick Alexander from Alexander BMW. We're family owned and operated, so no corporate overlords to take the cut. Come down to wholesale district lease and finance offers through BMW FM. Call 800-800-NICK or go to alexanderbmw.com. And remember,
U.S. Bank is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with retail banking in California by J.D. Power. Since California has home the most award shows, we prepare the thank you speech. In California, everywhere we bring power to help you plan, budget, and save smarter. Our goal tracking and budgeting tools would have no place to sign it to work for you, and we can't thank you enough for that. And thank you to our real-life humans who go above and beyond for our customers every day. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Member FDIC.
it's the perfect time for that new dream kitchen because the kitchen store is having its big sale. Find the best place for kitchen cabinets in all of SoCal and the big sale by dialing 310 Kitchen, 310 Kitchen, and on the web, 310kitchen.com. LBDE $2 community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 22nd. Find a collection site near you at BDATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug misuse before it starts. Apple has a new high-yield savings account which pays over 4% interest, but there are restrictions. There are banks that offer alternatives that pay similar interest with no fees. I'll compare them, plus tech news, tips, and useful information. This weekend on Rick's on Tech with Rick De Niro, Saturday morning at 11 on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Where's this fucking dude?
Yeah, you don't want to know. We were just talking about an Italian restaurant off the air, and I was reading this article about a restaurant in New York, Staten Island to be exact, and they have this unique concept where they are home to a rotating cast of grandmothers known as.
Oh, I think I've heard about this.
Yeah, they cook the meals they've been cooking for their families for generations. I just love to go there. Doesn't that sound like a great concept? You know, our old recipes.
They did it with different ethnicities, different regions, you know.
It's mostly Italian. Yeah.
LA's Mayor Richard Reardon, former Mayor Rick Reardon, who died at the age of 92, the last Republican mayor in Los Angeles, surrounded by family last night at home in Brentwood. And what I found interesting was even the LA Times brought it up was an endorsement of Rick Caruso. I mean, in a way like this, if they say, so he made his money, obviously a businessman, made his money as a venture capitalist, I believe is what they said. And he said he promised voters a better business climate, more cops, improvements in basic services, and they said by the time he departed 8 years later, his vision for a cleaner, safer, better functioning city had been realized. Crime was down, the economy rebounded, and although the LAPD was short of its goals, it had grown to a record number of officers.
I was able to interview him a couple times 50 years ago, and so, and he was such a good person, just a good guy. He really seemed to care about people and not be one of those phony things for himself politicians. And when you say Republican, it's funny because, yeah, it is like Rick Caruso, he calls himself a Democrat, but he's really a Republican light. How different that label has changed since Rick Reardon was in office, right? I mean, it's changed completely.
Hot debt ceiling talk is coming up, but first we got a chance for you to win $1,000. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter the nationwide keywords on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND, GRAND. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/ yeah. Powered by Sweet James Accident Attorney. It isn't an accident. Winning is everything. Call the winning attorneys at Sweet James. 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-9-MILLION. Or at sweetjames.com. That keyword goes on the website, KFIAM640.com/tag. And then they will notify you via email if you win another chance to come on in 2 hours from now.
It's very odd, isn't it, or is it just me, that the president has not sat down at the debt limit ceiling table. He's in Maryland, he's misspelling numbers and completely avoiding
I mentioned it in that speech, but for people who have nothing to do with the negotiations for the debt ceiling.
I have.
The default on the national debt. The debt that took 230 years to accumulate overall, unless you do what they say. They say they're going to default unless I agree to all these wacko notions they have. Default is the worst and totally irresponsible.
Jay O'Brien joins us from Washington for all of the latest in these developments. Jay, we are counting on you to sex up the debt ceiling for us.
You might be left wanting more. But it is really important. It's really important because if you don't raise the debt ceiling by at some point this summer, there is economic catastrophe. The federal government defaults on its loans. And right now, the place where we're at here, and this is as interesting as I can make it, is this is like a group of projects in the school. And Kevin McCarthy has said that the president has not met with him personally since they first met in February. So what Republicans did this week was say, here is all our work. This is what we want the project to look like. So they wrote a bill that would essentially raise the debt ceiling for a year and level huge, massive spending cuts to a lot of things that were priorities for President Biden, like green energy tax cuts, and Party said they would cut about $4.5 trillion over a decade. But the White House's point of view here is that they do not want any strings attached, as you know, to the raising of this debt ceiling. They say that they believe the debt ceiling is too important to be raised in connection with anything else. And so that's the impact here. And these two sides have got to come together in some way, shape, or form by the time that we hit the quote-unquote X date this summer, and the debt ceiling needs to be raised, or there are serious economic consequences. Is that X date pretty well set, or are we getting, are we still, it's just conjecture at this point as to when that date will actually hit?
Well, we know at some point this summer because that everyone has agreed to the summer, but exactly when it hits in the summer is a point of, I wouldn't say disagreement, but different opinions. So there are some who say it could come as early as June, and then there are others who say it may be closer to August or late July. And so it's unclear what exactly that X date is for, any kind of game of some kind or the fourth quarter. Like we are nearing it. I mean, we don't get this close often, and nobody's really coming out of their corner. So the question really becomes, do people get out of their corners a little bit?
On international discussion of foreign relations and things like that, it's not usual that the heads of state get together, but it is very common for lower level government agents to kind of get together and have these meetings, hammers and stuff, some of the details out. Are those lower level negotiations taking place? I mean, I know that Kevin McCarthy says he hasn't met with the president, but are members of his staff, House Republicans meeting with members of the administration or Senate Democrats or anything like that?
Well, if that's happening, it's the best kept secret in Washington. Not to say that it's not happening, but there's no indication that that's happening right now. And in fact, the moves that we're seeing are being made very much in public. Kevin McCarthy gave that speech on Monday. As you know, the New York Stock Exchange saying he hasn't heard from the president. Republicans are laying out this bill with what they say are their priorities. Obviously, it's dead on arrival in a Democratic-controlled Senate, and certainly the president wouldn't sign it into law, most likely. But it's their statement of priorities, trying to, in public, get the White House to negotiate on their terms. The White House, the president has made remarks like the sound you just played and others saying that he wants the death penalty raised and cleaned. So far, the maneuvers we've seen here have all almost entirely played out in public. If there are any talks going on, they are way outside the public view, and it seems unlikely that they're happening right now. Everybody is just staying in their corner.
Brian, excellent way to explain what's going on. Love the sports analogy and the First Project. We've all suffered through the First Project, whether it was not agreeing or not doing the work or others not doing the work.
I was the kid who did all the work. Thank you.
I did that. We're a perfect team.
Thank you. Gail O'Brien, they're live in Washington for us and for Brady News. Well, Alex Stone, when he talked with us yesterday about the shooting in Texas, when the cheerleader who was shot, when his friend got into the wrong car, he raised the question. I'm not sure the answer to it. Are we seeing these things? Is this a confirmation bias of these shootings, completely unjustified shootings that happen all the time? We're just highlighting them now?
Yeah.
Or is this a weird string of people can't control themselves?
I'm not sure. I think that there definitely is a little bit of both going on. These are going to become newsworthy if they come in bunches, and that's just where we're at. I mean, it's just spy balloons.
We got Missouri, we got upstate New York, we got Texas, and now we also have a shooting in South Carolina where the gunman is actually still at large. We'll explain what's going on when we come back.
Gary and Shannon will continue. Jennifer Jones-Lee will pay a fine 24-hour Eastern. Long Beach is opening a temporary 85-bed shelter and is receiving millions of dollars to get more people into permanent housing.
The new shelter in the First District opens at the end of the month and runs through July to compensate for the closure of a winter shelter. Long Beach Homeless Services Bureau Manager Paul Duncan says people get screened for housing, and a new 3-year, $5.2 million federal grant will help put people in homes. That's what creates, I just saw, housing opportunities for 45 families and then permanent supportive housing for 120 individuals. The shelter also offers case management, behavioral health services, and space for pets, and could eventually become a permanent shelter. In Long Beach, Corbin Carson, KFID.
A 15-year-old girl has been arrested for killing another teenager whose body was found in an empty field in Northern California. The Mendocino County Sheriff's Office says the 15-year-old girl was found dead by her uncle Saturday morning after she failed to return home the night before. On Monday, the girl was then physically assaulted by the archie to her death. The 15-year-old has been booked into juvenile hall. The murder The House has passed a bill that would bar federally supported schools and colleges from allowing transgender athletes who are born biologically male to compete on girls' or women's sports teams. The legislation, approved by a 219 to 203 vote, is unlikely to advance further because President Biden has said he would veto it.
The House action comes as at least 20 other states have imposed similar limits on trans athletes at the kindergarten through 12th grade level or even the collegiate level. North Dakota Republican Governor Doug Burgum has signed a bill into law that restricts transgender health care in his state. The bill will immediately criminalize healthcare providers who give gender-affirming care to people under the age of 18. A singer from a boy band in South Korea has been found dead at his home in Seoul. The 25-year-old member of Astro was reportedly found by his manager and went to the singer's home at night because he wasn't answering his calls. And fewer kids are rolling up their sleeves. UNICEF says it's seen the largest sustained decline in basic childhood immunizations in 30 years. About 67 million kids missed getting the vaccines between 2019 and 21. A newly released study shows people around the world aren't as confident in the effectiveness of vaccinations for kids, but uncertainty about COVID-19, misinformation, and political polarization has led to vaccine hesitancy. UNICEF has called on world governments to increase funding to encourage and support vaccination efforts, especially in poor countries. Amy King, KFI News. We'll take your drive on the 10 again in just a moment.
So let's talk about an upsetting issue. You have had this happen to you. Maybe you know somebody. Water damage in the house. And it could be anything from, toilet overflows upstairs to a pipe in the wall is broken. I mean, the damage to the drywall, to the flooring. I mean, you got to repair the pipes, all of that stuff. Open a claim with a homeowner's insurance company, and you find out they're going to try to pay you so little that you won't be able to repair the damage. Well, I got an answer for you. Abner Gat. Abner Gat is looking out for you because Abner Gat is a public insurance adjuster. And that means that Abner Gat is on your side. And you can try to negotiate with the insurance company, but you're going to find it's not that simple. Abner Gat will come along and he will negotiate on your behalf to make sure that you get the best possible outcome. Now, he and his team, they've been dealing with insurance companies for years. They know the language. They know all the tricks. This is what they do. Abner Gat's been rated 5 stars on Yelp, Google, Better Business Bureau. No one messes around with Abner Gat and his team. So give Abner a call, 818-917-5256, 818-917-5256, or visit AbnerGat.com, ABNBRGAC. That's AbnerGat.com, or call him directly, 818-917-5256.
SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a sunny day ahead. Temperatures will be in the 70s, pushing 80. We'll be in the 80s, pushing 90 for Friday and Saturday. Back into the 70s and 80s for Sunday. And it looks like back into the 60s and 70s by the first part of next week. 63 in Rainbow, Santa Margarita, 64 in Fullerton. Let's get a look at your drive with KFI in the sky. We're going right back to the 10 again.
Hey, Brett, this is Santa Monica Freeway. Now, we've been sitting around this for a long time. I want to warn you about some unusual delays. Now, especially if you're coming off DCH to the East Santa Monica Freeway, you wouldn't normally expect it. It's normally not this bad. Eastbound, a little bit past Overland, we've had a slight improvement. It was the 2 right lanes that were blocked for a long time. Now it's only the right lane, but the damage certainly has done. Again, starting with the eastbound lane coming out of the short tunnel, it's not back into the tunnel anymore, but as soon as you get out of the tunnel, you're stopped. So this is a very difficult drive. It could make you late. I'd make the call. No question about it. Now, going back to the westbound drive, it's always a fall, coming away from the 110 all the way out here every morning, but it's much slower than usual, if you believe that. And there's mostly spectators calling, especially Washington Boulevard, my favorite. You always suggested yesterday was the only up on the freeway. Mine was okay with it because this is really a tough drive. East and west, going through Overland, it's just not a happy place to be. That's for sure. Jeff Morrow, KFI in the sky. For official news and more information about content from this station, go to KFIAM640.com/rules. AOC Sharp, are you running out of hot water? Water Heaters Only has been specializing in the repair and replacement of water heaters since 1968. That's over 54 years as the original water heater specialist. So visit waterheatersonly.com for 0 interest financing. Terms and conditions apply. Request quick service or call to speak with a live operator 24 hours a day. Don't wait. Don't overpay. Visit waterheatersonly.com today. That's waterheatersonly.com. Brilliant is super prices and a super selection at the Norwood Superstore.
find the same vehicle for less than in 5 days. Your Reef will pay you the difference or buy your vehicle back. There is simply no reason to shop anywhere else. Don't miss your chance at a fresh start this spring and get behind the wheel of your favorite new ride. Test drive today in the Norm Reef Superstore location, like the #1 hottest store in the world, in the Cerritos Auto Square. Or shop online at normreef.com. At the Global Automobile Sale 2022. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in an accident and would like to know the value of your case, go to ForThePeople.com to see cases just like yours. You see, all lawyers are not the same. Morgan & Morgan. Visit ForThePeople.com for an office near you.
Seriously, Mike, you just jumped the password.
We all know how easy it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission experts at AMCO. AMCO, always the right fix. AAMCO. Special financing available. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply. See AMCO.com for complete details.
Injured in an accident? Visit superwomansuperwoman.com.
You hear what's happening here. Now you can see it too. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CFI.
Even if you're not smoking weed today, by the end of this program, you will feel that you have it. Okay.
Rapid unscheduled disassembly. That's what happened to SpaceX's giant new rocket that blasted off on its first test flight today. Made it past the tower, made it, 90,000 feet into the air, something like that, and exploded after it was supposed to start the separation for the booster to get away from the spacecraft. It just tumbled, and then the assumption is that they just put the big dead body that said self-destruct, and then the whole thing fell into the Gulf of Mexico.
The line at the unemployment office is getting longer. Jobless claims in the U.S. jumping up 5,000 from the previous week. The Labor Department says initial unemployment insurance claims for the week is 245,000. That's up 5,000 from the previous week. This is bigger than expected. They say this indicates the strong labor market is starting to cool off.
There is a strange story that is bubbling up in Northern California, a small town in northeast Mendocino County called Covello. I lived there a long time. Never heard of Covello until this week. A 16-year-old girl was killed, Ruby Sky Montalongo, and a 15-year-old girl has been arrested and charged with her murder. Now, this town has very close ties to the nearby Round Valley Indian Tribes and Reservation, and in that same town, less than 3 weeks ago, Nicholas Whipple, a 20-year-old, was shot and killed. The sheriff's office is looking for a guy in connection with that shooting, but in response to all of this, the Round Valley Indian Tribes Tribal Council declared a state of emergency this week and is now calling on the state of California, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, and the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office to help address criminal activity on and around the reservation.
Well, we talked about the black teenager in Kansas City last week who was shot in the head when he turned up at the wrong address to collect his siblings. The girl next to New York who was shot when her and her friends went to a party, pulled into the wrong driveway.
The cheerleader in Texas.
Cheerleader got into the wrong car in Texas, a couple of cheerleaders, and now we've got a story out of North Carolina, Charlotte to be exact.
24-year-old guy, still at large, by the way, who apparently shot a family after a 6-year-old girl and her father accidentally rolled their basketball into his yard.
A neighbor who lives in that Gaston County neighborhood says they were playing basketball, a ball rolled into his yard, they went to go get it. It was just crazy because we would never expect it in a million years. We'd never expect anyone would bring a gun out amongst all those kids. We say the suspect, the 24-year-old, went inside his home, came out with a gun, and just fired willy-nilly. That the daughter, the 6-year-old, and her dad were struck as parents were rushing to gather their own kids.
Now the kid, the 6-year-old,
them through this.
Don't do it.
The kids, he spoke to this television station that came to do an interview.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me?
Okay, now you can hear her wound, I think, was a bullet fragment. They went through her teeth, so that's why she sounded like that.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me? How did you shoot my dad?
Look at my husband and my daughter in COVID, and my dad remains in the hospital in Charlotte. He's been treated for punctured lung and liver problems after he was shot in the back.
You know why he was shot in the back? Because he was protecting his 6-year-old. He had covered her in an attempt to protect her from the gunshot.
I don't know if we're getting more of these. I mean, we monitor these pretty routinely. And often, even locally, we'll see a peace shot and an argument in Kilmar or what have you. And it never rises to the level of us talking about it because it's just, okay, peace shot and an argument in Kilmar.
The comment. The string that goes between these is that they were all completely avoidable. I mean,
There was no threat.
it's not an accidental shooting, but they're all completely avoidable. And for whatever reason, the 4 men who are now accused of these different instances flew off the handle for whatever reason. Fear, anger, frustration. How is it possible? It's a silly question. I was going to say, how is it possible that there's that much anger about something stupid like a basketball coming into your yard?
I think that it has nothing to do with the basketball. This was a guy who was known to police for assaulting his girlfriend with a sledgehammer in December. And America, he's out. I mean, now assaulting with a sledgehammer and maintain your freedom.
You want free. And continue to own your weapon.
Sure.
There's zero problem taking that guy's gun away from him. By the way, they haven't found it. 24, they have not yet found Robert Lewis Trudeau.
Coming up next, his local story here, and after that guy goes on a rampage and running down a 16-year-old from Westlake High School. We're learning more about the suspect and the rampage. And the story is here by News House. The details are going to coming up next.
During Santa will continue. Jennifer Jones Reed live in the KFI 24-hour news.
Well, the line at the unemployment office is getting longer. Jobless claims in the U.S. are up 5,000 from the previous week. Riverside County is revising its noise ordinance. The county's planning department is looking at ways to measure and regulate noise. And Snapchat is really getting serious about the tax part. The company announced yesterday a customizable chatbot My AI is now available to all users. We're going to look at your drive and continue on the 10 in just a moment.
So from this window, I can see any cloud.
It is a beautiful day, is it not? Summer is back in Los Angeles, and it's time to use that big, beautiful ball of fire and put it in the coffin.
And make some electricity out of this stuff. Get the best field now at SolarMax Technology. I love when I get my email, because I do the usual facility now. When I get my email and they say, oh, yes, we're sorry, Mr. Hoffman, we are you $8 or
First of all,
$12
they
or
do not say
$40.
sorry, and they don't say Mr. Hoffman.
That should have not on me, so I don't know what I'm doing that.
SolarMax's spring solar sale is on, so you can save this right now by calling SolarMax, getting a 12-panel system, 0 down, $59.99 a month.
This is the most powerful solar panels on the market, and you're not going to get another complete solar panel system for that price.
You get a custom design system, a dedicated solar consultant,
And unmatched pricing and quality control, because SolarMax panels are designed, engineered, and assembled locally out here in Riverside.
take control of your electric bill. Call SolarMax, get a 12-panel system for 0 down, $59.99 a month.
Dial pound 250 from your cell phone, say the keyword SolarMax, that's pound 250 SolarMax, or go to solarmaxtech.com. Monthly payment available on food credit. This will be minimum 97 here for you.
SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a sunny Thursday with highs in the 70s to right at 80. This report is brought to you by personal injury firm Owen Patterson and Owen. Those problems continue on the 10.
Anyway, two right lanes are shut down now. Very sorry. Don't drive for you from level 4, looks like defense now. You're sun on the same time. What's on 10 not looking any better for your driver right now? It's 60 west.
They're downtown. They can continue to the city back toward about, looks like Minnesota. That's another town that's been cleared from land. Way to find this guy helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Collier. This report is sponsored by BlindShirt.com. Hi, I'm Kyle at BlindShirt.com, and I sell custom blinds designed for do-it-yourself. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, BlindShirt blinds are custom made for your windows and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and show big at BlindShirt.com. And this is Market Report. This brand, Chief Market Officer, Chipotle Mexican Grill, weighs in on the power of audio. We use audio to reinforce what we're showing on TV, what we're showing in other digital channels. When your priority is driving reach, boy, everybody needs to listen to the radio. As the number one audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audience's conversations, trusted influencers, insights, and data using to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartMedia.com. Why can't you and I shop for a lawyer like we do for everything else?
Our lawyers are not creating people. It's not shopping based on price. It's actually choosing the best lawyer. Winners count and results matter.
Thanks, OPO. Now we know. 888-OPO-WIN. OPOLaw.com.
And now, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in store. Same low prices, deals, and warmth on the same high-quality items. One 12-6 for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Ralph.com. Ralph, fresh for everyone. It's a super fun and fun to do.
Earn extra fuel points and save even more at the pump. You can earn 4 times the fuel points on your grocery purchase this Friday with your digital coupon. Download your coupon on our website. If you're looking to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage and they'll make you a cash offer with no need for a tip. With Seller's Advantage, there are no fees. What you close the deals and we buy you cash. And they offer a $10,000 advance to help us move it. Check out their reviews online and call for no obligation offer. 888-321-ADVANCE. 888-321-ADVANCE. 888-321-2747 and visit sellersadvantage.com. Don't worry, don't worry. We're trying to drive that. Gary number 0196168. Do you know what the two biggest problems are that people have with health plumbers? Think about it for a minute. It's a problem right to list yourself. They don't come when they say they will. They come to more after the job than what they quoted to a client. And they don't fix the problem right the first time. Who has half of that kind of motivation? At service champions, performance is different. We'll be there on time, right when we say we'll be there. We'll give you a firm price and line before we start. And all of our plumbing services are backed for a happy new promise. It's simple. If you're not happy, you don't pay. For us, it's all about respect. For you, our customers. I'll service champions right now for all of your plumbing needs. Our number is 833-777-7777 or find us online at servicechampions.com. Did you know your completely free iHeartRadio app is also your home for the podcast? You for you this week, check out On Purpose with Dave Getz, discussing philosophy, life, and conversations with the biggest stars in the world with your free iHeartRadio app. You cannot complain about what's happening in your area if you're not going to take it upon yourself to help put someone in office that is going to be the best person to bring about positive change. We're not getting out to vote. We want to complain after? No, this is our Southern California with good roll out Saturday. So Walrus Shot Saturday evening at 5 on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
There's a story developing in the valley right now, and it involved a pursuit, a police pursuit. It turns out that it was a van stolen from an adult daycare center, okay? The Golden Age Adult Day Health Care Center. They have a location in Arizona. Well, police were tracking the stolen passenger van through their night. The sliding side door of the vehicle was open. Now they're saying that it was a guy in his 90s that jacked the adult senior care van and had a hostage, an 80-year-old woman.
I reported like it was somebody.
Yeah, she's like, we're breaking free today. Let's go dance.
Which one I like to sell them and which one?
Interesting story. I like that movie.
author, almost 2 years ago now in South Dakota, he held a cyber symposium claiming he had information to show Chinese interference in the 2020 election, and said he would pay $5 million to anybody who could prove him wrong. Yesterday, a private arbitration panel ruled someone proved him wrong, and he said to pay $5 million. Robert Zeidman is a computer forensics expert, 63-year-old guy in Nevada. Proved him wrong. According to the arbitrator, not only did it not prove voter fraud, the information has no connection to the 2020 election at all. And Robert Zeidman was the only one who submitted a claim. He happened to be a Trump voter. Okay. That's got to be something that's knocked down. And of course, why not? Why? He promised he would pay $5 million. No. All right, well, we have an update on that terrifying rampage that ended with a 15-year-old student from Westlake High being murdered, essentially. Rick Crowley from Terrifying News is on this and joins us with all the latest details. Blake, what do you know?
Yeah, guys, so we found out a lot yesterday. I know when I came on here yesterday, because it was kind of a canvas situation. We have a lot to take in. So just to give a little background, we'll start with the driver himself. His name is 24-year-old Austin Ice. And police are saying now that he is homeless and he was thought to be living out of his car in the Simi Valley area. That determination was made through several factors, one of them being that just after this crash, a lot of belongings spilled out of his car, leading authorities to believe that he lived out of his car. Also, it sounds like he would not tell investigators exactly where he lived. I'm told he had prior addresses in both Camarillo and in Thousand Oaks. We've also learned that he was a student at Westlake High. That's where these students attended, the students that he ran into. Again, one of those being killed, one being left in critical condition. Austin Ice did attend Westlake High School and graduated in 2017. There was also a lot unknown about the events that led up to him running into this group of kids. So just to simplify the events, stabs and attacks, allegedly stabbed a boy at Walmart, gets to a fight with his family members, then hooked back to Thousand Oaks where he's then accused of hitting those 4 teenagers. One of which was again killed, one in critical condition. We've been given more information now about that stabbing at Walmart. I'll start here. I spoke with this before yesterday. He gave me this breakdown of events. So basically, I'm on a motorcycle on my break. I come back and I found a lot of cop cars and a whole bunch of ambulances. I'm like, oh, what's going on? So I go to my manager. I'm like, what's going on? So let's go find out soon enough. So I go around and ask the people, hey, what's going on? And they said someone got stabbed. I'm like, got stabbed? Where? And they're like, oh, in the garden area. I'm like, you know why? He's like, because the employee asked to check for 30 feet. I'm like, that's why he stabbed us? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's ridiculous. And they're like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then I heard that the guy that got away, but he hit 4 high schoolers on the way and killed one, a 16-year-old. Yeah, we're covering that story. So he's here, this is in the garden area. Yeah. The employee, and then they stopped him in the sky, and then I don't know where else he stabbed him, but I heard he was doing pretty good, the guy that stabbed. So okay. But we were told last night that employee that was stabbed was still in the hospital as of last night, and more details about that attack did come out. I see that he could actually pepper spraying that employee, then stabbing him, then assaulting another woman who worked at the store, attempting to drag her. People at the store went to help. Police say Ice lunged at them with a knife. And again, I was late yesterday, we were told that person that was stabbed was still in the hospital. Now, after leaving Walmart, he said he'll go to his family member's house. This is in Camarillo. Got into some sort of dispute there, pulled out a knife, threatened people with it, also pulled out a gun. And then from there, he accused of pushing back to Thousand Oaks. That's where he ran into that group of teenagers. We're told there were a lot of teenagers in the area. This was a bus stop. He killed 15-year-old Leslie Welling. We now learned that Welling's sister was standing next to him. Both were waiting for that bus to go home and celebrate their mother's birthday. So just an absolute tragedy there. Again, yesterday we spoke about the potential that he had a prior criminal record. I put it in inquiry with the Ventura County DA's office. Yesterday I spoke with somebody from the office. They said nothing had come up as of right now. There's been no known criminal record or any sort of criminal history that's shown up for this guy.
Just a 24
or maybe a psychotic break that it's weird, it's ugly head. All right, Blake, thanks for the update.
I think that we were talking earlier today happens to be 20 and people forget quickly with celebration, people are going to get high AF today and or work high or
Hey, it's National Beer Day. You go home and crack a beer.
so it's just like it's just I don't usually not a big
Oh, so you're zero from now? I think I am.
now that I do a self-reflection I might be
Don't roll your eyes, baby. Happy 420. Yeah, you're from Louisville, man. You don't know that. You grew up in Ohio. You heard about 420 before Steakhouse people did. Happy 420. I bet I know this 420.
Every year there's a new article about where the term came from, where 420 came from. I honestly, I don't
It's the number of chemicals in the I believe. There's a number of something in
couple Framerville high schoolers are on the front page of the San Francisco Chronicle today, claiming they're the ones who came up with it.
Where was that?
I don't know. It would have been 80s, I think, if they were there. I told less people before I figured down the morning. So I don't know if this is a positive or a negative, but I find it's the one of the things.
In 1971, 5 high school students in San Rafael used the term 420 in connection with a plan to search for an abandoned cannabis crop based on a treasure map made by the grower.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Sounds exactly right. Hey, did you ever get the snacky feeling you're getting? If there was a time that Shannon got high, did you get snacky?
Yes. I do. Well, that was my problem when I tried the gummies in recent years. Like, I had one, it was like 5 milligrams or whatever. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just have a gummy instead of 2 glasses of wine. And I have it, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, I eat everything that's in the kitchen. Everything. Like, I got into the frozen food. It was a dark time, and I'm like, I cannot continue this line of life.
Got a ring of chocolate.
Oh, I was like, fruits and salt and more.
I don't think I understand that. I mean, I don't understand the mechanism, the biology of why it makes you hungry.
I try this in my head where I think I'm going to be hungry, I think I'm going to have the munchies, and then I give myself the munchies.
What's the go-to snack?
It's something with salt and grease chips. I don't know.
Pork rinds?
Nacho cheese Doritos.
Winner.
Cheetos. Those sound good.
If you have your favorite 420 snack, let us know.
Cheetos sound really good right now.
That's feature on the iHeart app. But you're not.
I know, but I'm giving myself the munchies.
Now you're.
When
we return, Richard, we're not going anywhere, but coming up next, Richard Reardon. Why it is he is working on it. I mean, we know, but this we'll look back at the last Republican mayor in the city of Los Angeles, one of those apparently very successful guys willing to actually serve the community. So we'll talk about that. Coming up next, we'll come back to very soon. Without the joke.
He was a former student, and Jennifer Jones legitimately living in his car.
Austin Ice accused of going on a rampage. He allegedly first attacked 2 employees at a Walmart in Simi Valley. Then got into some sort of fight with his family members in San Marino. Then headed back to Thousand Oaks where he's accused of running into the teenagers. This man who works at Walmart says Ice stabbed an employee in the garbage section. Then apparently he roughed up a woman too. Police say Ice ran over and killed 15-year-old Leslie Welling about an hour later. Welling's sister was next to him during the crash. Both were waiting for a bus to go home and celebrate their mother's birthday. Like trolling. Hey, if I knew.
News is brought to you by Reborn Cabinet. A man's been arrested for an alleged crime spree throughout LA and Orange County. The feds say near Green Wall just tried to rob 31 gas stations and convenience stores over a 3.5-week period. Posting documents show from March 21st to April 15th, Green also carjacked the 18 vehicles. Prosecutors say Green was demanding cash from employees at gunpoint and threatened killing them if they didn't hand over the money. Failed to steal a little more than $15,000 during the robbery. Green faces 20 years in prison. He was charged under the Federal Arms Act, which is interference with commerce by robbery. Police in North Carolina are trying to find a man who allegedly shot a young girl, her parents, and another neighbor because a basketball rolled into his yard. FCA Travis Page, 6-year-old Kingsley White, is recovering from her injuries. I have a question for the shooter.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me? Why did you shoot God?
The girl's mom says her husband tried to draw the gunfire towards himself to protect his family and was shot in the back. Facebook users could get some cash. Anyone in the U.S. who had a Facebook account at any time from May 24th, 2007 now apply for their share of the $725 million lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges Facebook allowed millions of its users' personal information to be fed to Cambridge Analytica when they Meta denies the allegations and has agreed to pay the $725 million into a fund to settle the case. To apply for the settlement, users can fill out a form and submit it online or print it out and mail it. Get remarks, pay a fine. An IRS agent has asked for whistleblower protection to share allegations related to the criminal investigation of Hunter Biden.
Thought long and hard about it. He walked it over, wanted to come forward, and at the end of the day, he decided that he would feel worse about himself if he did nothing to stay quiet.
Attorney Mark Lytle says the agent has information about alleged mishandling and political interference in the investigation. Federal prosecutors have been investigating President Biden's son since at least 2018 for tax crimes and false statements, but no charges have been filed. Your KFI Financial Update is sponsored by Jacoby and Myers. The Dow is down 53, S&P down 11, NASDAQ down 26, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $4.91. Don't wait. Maximize your compensation after an accident. Call Jacoby and Myers now. This is for you since 1972. SoCal weather from KFI is the sunny Thursday with high 70 to right at 80, 80s and 90s for Friday and Saturday. Back into the 70s and 80s for Sunday, and then 60s and 70s by the first part of next week. Let's get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky. It's slow in Mission Hill.
Really rough riding for you, and nothing reported in the range. Definitely for the delay from that. Got a heads up about this from Brian. On the KFI traffic tip on time, you can see myself on Q1. This KFI traffic is US right now, an update all over for that 411 Honda drive. And as you mentioned, away south along the 405, but it's still going through out of Van Nuys, leading Victory Boulevard. There remains heavy for you through west LA towards Sunset. Your turn trip on the northbound side of the 405. Still seeing the west one for you out of Long Beach from before Ferry. There's delay stick around into the south bank and Torrance as you make way past the western shore Sunset Boulevard. Looks like confidence through the southern south of the East Drive for the northbound on the 405. Still going for you again as you're coming out of the Lennox and Eagle area. But before Century Boulevard, 405 northbound, still going for you past the 10 west LA as you head towards Monica Boulevard. Over to Orange County, still going dry for you on the southbound side of the 405. Out of Westminster and Westminster Boulevard, that will be a busy one for Mountain Valley as you make the Brooklyn. Still seeing delays for you on the west on 91 at the Riverside into Corona. From before Tyler, as the rest of the going for all the way to the 55. So your fine side helps you go faster. I'm on your phone.
You're out there living your life, work, maybe got plans after work, go home, you watch the sex show, I don't know, but you walk in the door and all of a sudden you're in a foot of water, then a pipe that exists in your home, you're there willing. You don't get to watch Stephen Mark's sex show, not until you call the insurance company. And then you Abner Gap. Abner Gap is looking out for you. Abner Gap is a public insurance adjuster who is on your side. If you try to negotiate your insurance company or stop it, you're going to find very quickly that it's not that simple. Abner Gap will fight for you. Make sure you get the best possible outcome, not the insurance company. He and his team have been dealing with these people for years. It's what they do. They've got the experience. The industry know how you need on your side. They're also rated at 5 stars on Yelp, Google, and the Better Business Bureau. No one messes around. We are GAT, AbnerGap.com, or call me directly, 818-917-5256. Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's a free app that can save you money on your medication. Just search for your prescription, use the pharmacy and the place that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works in over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. And it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to say. Next time you drop off your prescription, that's GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
And this is part of the report. We hear about the importance of local radio. From Allison Grant, head of marketing
That's such a broad outreach that is local, and for us to be able to help customers at the local scale at a national scale is so different and important for us.
As the number one audio company, iHeart uses its marketing access to the audience, custom influencers, and data users to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com. This is Jacob and Ronnie. If you've been in an accident, call 844-24-JACOB. More stimulating talk.
And I have radio station.
Everywhere on the iHeart Radio.
Wasn't it the first year of this show that I had you delivered to us at work?
The first calendar year, yeah.
Yeah. We got here within an hour and a half.
Good thank you for that. If you feel. I don't remember why it is, but I get messages now from a company that's like, hey, we got $30 in your account.
Yeah. Because I used your email address.
That's what it was. And that's why
And I don't know why it was that I used yours, but, yeah. I would hope to be my drug.
I mean, you have to.
That's some decorum.
It was fun. I had fun. I got up early and watched the SpaceX. I was up. I didn't get up early to watch it, but I was up and I realized that they had delayed the launch to a specific time. I think it was about 6:30. I noticed that you notice on social media that the countdown had a certain point. They were trying to alleviate some problems. And then finally, the SpaceX giant new rocket, the Starship rocket and the Heavy booster, took off from a spot in Texas. And then a few minutes into the flight, when things were supposed to progress, it didn't really progress. And somebody put the stress button.
Versus just experience what we call a rapid unscheduled disassembly.
Rapid unscheduled disassembly. So, according to Elon Musk, according to the people who are working with SpaceX, this was a success. Even though it didn't end the way people who can then usually, the fact that they got it up off of the launch pad and into on its way.
It wasn't the goal. It was not the goal. And I only start using rapid unscheduled assembly for other failures.
Disassembly.
Disassembly.
Unscheduled assembly would be quite strict.
And IRS whistleblowers told Congress the Hunter Biden probe is being mishandled. President's son currently under federal investigation for potential tax crimes, charges he lied about a firearm purchase form. Whistleblower is identified as the IRS criminal supervisor special agent. Reports say the agent claims the investigation into Hunter Biden has been hindered by preferential treatment in politics. Interesting. It's also odd, isn't it, that we have this Hunter Biden investigation going on with our involvement in Ukraine continuing? There's any sort of parallel?
I don't know if there's any.
I'm sure there's some sort of conspiracy theories out there.
Oh, sure, yeah. But I haven't seen much of
Come on, Tucker, get on it.
By the way, Frank Ocean pulled out of Coachella. Scheduled to take the stage to headline on Sunday night. It's like the last weekend, but it would be replaced by Blink-182. They reunited during week one and actually made a bunch of headlines. Now, Frank Ocean that made headlines because it was, according to people who saw it, awful and short.
And that's
He had injured his leg, I guess, in the week leading up to it. He was unable to perform the intended show.
Well, as we saw with Rick Russo's failure, it's impossible to get elected mayor no matter how much money you throw at the problem if you don't have the backing of the unions, right? It's just that's where we are in the big cities in this country. Richard Reardon was a Rick Russo-esque kind of guy, came from the business world, and back then was able to achieve the rank of mayor of LA, the last Republican mayor maybe ever in Los Angeles, at least for all our time. This guy was 92 years old, and this is a guy who believes in fighting with the people at City Hall because they're, politicians, and bringing in outside voices, bringing in people from the business world to solve problems. And I'm always been a fan of that, whether it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's bid for governor, an outsider coming in with a fresh set of eyes. You see it with cold cases. It works then. You get the detectives that have worked this thing for 25 years, you just bring a fresh set of eyes, and suddenly, well, what about this? And it's like, oh, I hadn't seen that. Why not, for the crime scene that is Los Angeles, bring in a fresh set of eyes to see, what are we doing wrong? Hey, you guys think about this? And Richard Riordan was very much into that. And I think that's what Rick Caruso wanted to be true. And not a knock on Karen Bass, but he's been standing by entrenched in this for 30 plus years.
Yeah, and think about this. When he took over as mayor, we had some acts go down. I mean, we had the 1992 riots, we had the 94 Northridge earthquake, people who lived here at the time, but had the Northridge earthquake, and he was able to steer this city through some pretty tumultuous times. This was his, from the start of his inauguration in 93.
My fellow Angelinos, the time has come for all of you to take part in the healing of our great city.
And again, I pointed out that the LA Times wrote a pretty nice piece about Richard Riordan, despite his political stance, which was much more conservative than you see anywhere close to the City Hall these days. But he promised voters the better business climate, right? He wanted to boost the LAPD numbers. He wanted to improve the basic services. And they wrote, as Gene Merle did in this obituary, by the time he departed 8 years later, forced out by voting for term limits, blah, 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 his vision for a cleaner, safer, better functioning city had been realized. Crime was down, the local economy had rebounded, and although the LAPD living short of its goals, it had grown to a record number of officers.
Yes, he's championing those term limits. He basically like you do, you don't just stay in office forever. You get in, you do what you can to fix the problem, and get out. I did not know that he lost 2 children. Barry, his only son, died in a scuba diving accident a day before his 27th birthday. And his daughter Carol died from an eating disorder when she was 19.
He was pretty active in children's programs, fundraising for kids programs after he left office also. So, when I saw this, I made a comment earlier, it almost sounded like an argument for why a guy like Rick Caruso should have been elected mayor. The ability to come in and bring a different view, so he's not a lifelong politician, into a place that needs to be shaken up.
But like I said, with the unions and the power they wield, that's just not a possibility anymore. Gavin Newsom decided to make a surprise trip to the Tenderloin. Why is it a surprise trip when it's ground zero for the state's fentanyl crisis? You should be there. With high security.
Barry and Shannon will continue. Jennifer Jones Lee is live in the KFI 24-hour news.
Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is demanding some conditions before raising the U.S. debt ceiling. Congress needs to raise the government in coming months to avoid defaulting on the nation's debt limit. BuzzFeed News is shutting down. The CEO said in emails to staff move as part of a 15% workforce reduction across a number of teams. And we've got Republican Chris Christie who says he's investigating a potential presidential bid, all the while he was taking shots at Florida Governor DeSantis today. SoCal weather from KFI calls for a sunny day ahead and warm. High today will be in the low to mid 70s, maybe a couple of 80s. Looks like then we'll have 80s, maybe some 90s for Friday and Saturday, back into the 70s and 80s for Sunday, and cooler for next week. This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Let's check your drive on the 91.
Still sticking around from morning through to the midday, at least on from before Tyler, and that remains the case. As you can see in that score, along pretty much the 241 total, which relates to the west on the 91, through Anaheim Hills coming out of Yorba Linda from the 4 Imperial Highway to the 55. East on side on the 91, still going well, I can actually look at your countdown book on the way for you. East on 91 and 105 lanes from pretty much the Orange County line. And Corona is taking away until at least noon, and that's why it's still going for you. So before we're standing or Yorba Linda Boulevard. KFI Mechanical Future Factors, I'm calling you. Tell us about your portfolio with an alternative investment. It isn't tied to the stock or housing market. That's later. Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. Right? You can open an account, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in the vault or shipped to your door. Well, that's a
access to a dashboard that you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime, and see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. Always hedging against inflation, against the volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio doesn't just have stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. Legacy Precious Metals New Platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver no matter how small or large with just a few clicks. And it's free to sign up. Create your account online at buylegacygold.com. Buylegacygold.com. Or talk to Legacy Precious Metals directly. Call 866-691-2173.
Basically a ride to the store. You still don't have a car? I've been waiting forever. It's over at Roto.com. No way. It's real. At Roto, they have a ton of deals on cars. Show me that ride. I'll tell you that. Like a newer pre-owned car on your screen at any time on any device in just a few clicks. Isn't that a great price? By downloading the Roto app or check out Roto.com.
Now it's SolarMax technology.
Take control of your electric bill. Call SolarMax to get a 12-channel system for $0 down, $59.99 a month.
$50 on your cell and say SolarMax or SolarMaxTech.com. Mostly they have a good price to get the max user for you.
What if I told you there is a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science today. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it and within 30 minutes you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible. I took one of those
all the stuff that felt like a dark cloud that been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I never felt before.
This exact athlete teaches and students for how Limitless the secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Limitless. Call 800-679-8018. That's 800-679-8018. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-679-8018. 800-679-8018. This isn't just the quality of life. If you're uncomfortable and there's a bunch of drug addicts stumbling around the foaming at the mouth, it doesn't matter if they don't attack you. You don't want to do that. Because every one of those people might kill you under different circumstances. John and Jen, complete every time. Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Hello, y'all. This looks like a fruitless dance from my man. Here's you if you're watching it. That's fucking amazing.
Everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
That was good.
Thinking of running for that after deprecation.
No way. God.
This seed has gotten better shape over the years, hasn't it?
That was really good. Good job.
It's got to be higher and tighter.
And the dog. Why?
Hi, Jerry Cannon.